Livestream. Why go to Peking University? Go to a university with Dad.
Chapter 21 Experts and Professors Connected. Recently, the discussion on I-Chen's educational methods has never stopped on the internet. When the director of the Education Bureau Lin Weiman appeared in the live broadcast room of the program, How to Raise Children, the already warm atmosphere was instantly pushed to a climax. Lin Weiman's visit and investigation of I-Chen, as well as the in-depth conversation between the two, caused I-Chen's popularity to soar like a rocket. The unprecedented popularity has attracted the attention of many news media, and they are eager to publish relevant reports. After leaving I-Chen's house, Lin Weiman returned to the Education Bureau with a heavy heart. He sat at his desk, thinking over every word I-Chen had said. After some deep reflection, he realized that I-Chen's words were indeed reasonable. At present, it is time to abandon some outdated concepts and explore more practical ways that both parents and children will be happy to accept, so as to help students achieve all-round development. Think of this. Lin Weiman opened the live broadcast room of Good Parenting and wanted to know more about I-Chen. Just then, Xiaowu hurried into the office and said with a slightly nervous look, "Director Lin, we've received news from the propaganda department that this incident has had a huge impact. Do you think we need to control public opinion and get the news media to publish reports that are favorable to our Education Bureau?" Quote. Lin Weiman shook his head slightly, his eyes firm and calm. "That's not necessary. We should take this opportunity to reflect on the current education model instead of rushing to manipulate public opinion." Quote. "Just talk to the people over there and make sure some media outlets don't distort the facts and hurt I-Chen." Quote. Xiaowu was slightly startled, then nodded and left the office. That evening, many TV stations broadcast news programs one after another, and many reports about I-Chen's live confrontation with the director of the Education Bureau appeared on the screen. Most of the news focused on I-Chen's questions about extracurricular activities raised by the local Education Bureau director, and the director's subsequent response. In order to ensure the orientation of the news, those overly sharp words, such as I-Chen's statement that the event was formalism, were naturally edited out. Many viewers had never heard of I-Chen. After reading the news, everyone couldn't help but sigh. They feel that I-Chen is young but has the courage to speak out and is not afraid to point out possible problems in educational activities in public. He really dares to speak and act. The audience also had a good impression of the director of the Education Bureau. Instead of avoiding the problem, the director generously accepted the doubts in the live broadcast room and gave a sincere response. This attitude of courage to take responsibility won the favor of everyone. I-Chen's popularity has been further enhanced in this news storm. He was originally only somewhat popular on the internet, but now he has entered the vision of more people through the spread of television news. His name began to appear frequently in people's discussions, and he became known as the new force, speaking out for education. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining 50,000 reputation points. Current reputation value, 99,314. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket tip. You can draw a lottery once now. Close black lens bracket. I-Chen did not hesitate. System, start the lottery. Quote. Ding, congratulations to the host for acquiring the skill, fast talker. Closing square bracket. I-Chen, what kind of skill is this? When he carefully read the skill introduction, he suddenly realized it. Speak fast. 1. Acquire world-class debating skills. 2. Acquire world-class mental arithmetic skills. Closing square bracket. It means that they are good at quarreling and fast at arithmetic. Quote. I-Chen thought about it for a while. It seems that the reward I got this time is not very useful. He won't become a debater or a master of arithmetic. But he didn't complain. If you lose reputation points, you can earn them again. Now that things have come to this, let's go to sleep first. He fell asleep peacefully. But at this moment many people couldn't sleep. After the news was broadcast, there was an uproar in the education community. Many education experts find this incredible. They had previously seen I-Chen's out-of-line behavior on short video platforms. Like Wang Fang, they believed I-Chen was just fooling around. Every action made them angry and annoyed. But they never expected that the local education bureau director Lin Weimin not only did not severely criticize Ai Chen and order rectification, but was instead lectured by Ai Chen. Nowadays, Ai Chen is hailed as a new force by many people. In their opinion, this is simply against the moral code. A university professor was so angry that he wrote a long article on his WeChat moments overnight, fiercely criticizing Ai Chen. The words are fierce, and the opening sentence, "It's the most ridiculous thing in the world," reveals the anger in his heart. This long article was quickly reprinted in academic circles and resonated with many people. At the same time, Lin Weimin was also accused of inaction. The professor made no secret of his dissatisfaction with Lin Weimin in his writings. Not only that, educational institutions, cram schools, and childcare teachers are also unable to sit still. They accused Ai Chen of not paying attention to their children's academic performance, and because of Ai Chen's remarks, they lost a lot of parent clients. These people were furious and called the Good Parenting program team, threatening to go on the show to confront Ai Chen face to face and settle accounts with everyone so that everyone would see Ai Chen's true face of just trying to gain traffic. For a time, the voices condemning Ai Chen were overwhelming. The program team received a lot of accusatory calls that evening. Among them are the professor and 2 education experts. The other party stated that Ai Chen must be made to realize his mistake, otherwise they would jointly find the leaders of higher-level departments to rectify the program. The program crew was a little panicked now. These education experts and professors have considerable influence in China's education community. The other party said they could find the person above, so they had to believe it. They don't want this show to be shelved like this. So a discussion meeting was held overnight to discuss how to solve the problem. The final decision was unanimous. Conduct an online dialogue program. Let Ai Chen have a live connection with several education experts and professors to exchange ideas on educational concepts. The program team's plan is that if you experts and professors have any dissatisfaction, you can go and talk to Ai Chen yourself and see if you can convince him. If you can't convince them, it's your own problem. Don't target their program. After the program team informed them to communicate with Ai Chen online, the experts and professors unanimously agreed. He also said that their words might be sharp, so he asked the program crew to give Ai Chen a heads up so that he could be prepared. Time quietly came to noon of the next day. Ai Chen and his son ended the game live broadcast early. Ai Chen stretched. "Son, I'm hungry. Let's go out and have a good meal." Quote. Kunkin cheered excitedly, and then the 2 of them began to pack up. "I made a lot of money from live streaming in the past 2 days, and after withdrawing the money, I had more than 10,000 yuan. He had already converted half of it into cash and gave it to Kun. Seeing Ai Chen end the live broadcast, the brother who was following him hurried forward and said, "Ai Chen, the program team has arranged for you to have a live exchange with several education experts and professors. The time is set for this afternoon." Quote. Ai Chen raised his eyebrows slightly. He was well aware of the overwhelming controversy on the internet. I sneered in my heart. Online communication. You just want to take this opportunity to educate me. After a pause, he looked at the brother who was following him. "So, do I get paid for this connection?" Quote. Follow the big brother. Quote. He originally thought Ai Chen would refuse, but he didn't expect the other party to actually ask if he had money. But he didn't say anything. Because he knew in his heart that Ai Chen would be under tremendous pressure for this connection and would most likely be severely criticized. There is nothing wrong with asking for money. I don't know about this either. I'll ask the production team later. Quote. Ai Chen nodded nonchalantly, with a smile on his lips. Okay, let them come. I want to have a good debate with them. Quote. But not in the afternoon. I eat slowly. Let them wait. Quote. After saying that, he led Kunkin out of the house. At this time, when the audience in the live broadcast room heard that Ai Chen was going to connect with education experts, they immediately became interested. Chapter 22. Have you ever seen an internet cafe at 4 a.m.? Ha ha ha, Ai Chen is not live streaming games tonight and is instead doing a debate. Reborn. I debate with scholars in the live broadcast room, is on air. Closing square bracket. Hand the oxygen cylinder to the expert for warning. The professor met the beast, and I laughed so hard that I burst out laughing. Close black lens bracket. The big guys in the knowledge area versus the devils in the live area, this is the peak match. I want to see how I-Chen will deal with the education experts. Closing square bracket. It's obvious that these experts and professors are here with bad intentions. If it's I-Chen, I say, don't go. Of course, if you offer money, just ignore what I said. Closing square bracket. Expert. You don't understand education at all, I-Chen. You don't know how to be a host at all. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, I-Chen is really showing off, actually asking the experts to wait for him. Dog head. Ellipsis ellipsis. I-Chen's home is near a prosperous business area with restaurants and shops next to each other. It is very convenient to walk there, so he didn't ride an electric bike. The father and son were walking leisurely on the street. When they passed by an internet cafe, they heard bursts of intense game sounds and shouts from players. I-Chen turned his head and looked at the internet cafe. The lights were on and many people were concentrating on playing games on their computer screens. I-Chen pointed to the internet cafe and asked Kun. Son, have you ever seen an internet cafe at 4 in the morning? Quote. Kun blinked, shook his head and said curiously. No, father. Quote. He had never been to an internet cafe, let alone one at 4 in the morning. I-Chen patted Kun's shoulder in a serious tone and said. It seems that you are not working hard enough. Remember, you should work hard on your shooting skills. Quote. When your winter vacation comes, Dad will take you here for the night, and you can see the internet cafe until 4 in the morning. Quote. Quote. When Kun heard I-Chen say that he wanted to take him out for the night, his mouth opened wide. He shook his head repeatedly and moved closer to I-Chen. The guy who was following them and filming them almost stumbled when he heard this. The audience in the live broadcast room also teased I-Chen. This kind of educational method is very bad, it can easily make children develop a rebellious mentality. When Kun reaches his rebellious period, you will be obedient when you go to the library overnight. Soon, I-Chen took Kun to a mutton hotpot restaurant. The store is not big, and the decoration is simple and plain. At first glance, it is one of those fly restaurants with affordable prices. The shop owner had sharp eyes and spotted I-Chen and Kun at a glance. A bright smile immediately broke out on her face and she greeted them warmly. Hey, I-Chen and Kun are here. Quote. Oh, Kun has grown a lot taller. He looks more and more handsome. Quote. I-Chen is very familiar with this restaurant and comes here often on weekdays. The prices here are affordable and the food is safe. He and the elder sister have become old acquaintances. I-Chen responded with a smile. Big sister, as usual, let's have the mutton hotpot first, and we'll order the other dishes later. Quote. The eldest sister responded and went to prepare. At this time, the brother who was filming looked around, turned to look at Kun and joked. Kun, you've made so much money from live streaming, why don't you ask your dad to take you out for a fancy dinner? Quote. Kun blinked and spoke crisply. It's pretty good here. I like the hot pot here, and we don't show off our wealth. Quote. The brother who was filming the child was a little surprised. He didn't expect that an 8-year-old child could understand such a truth. I couldn't help but ask. Wow, I didn't expect that at your young age, you still know not to show off your wealth. Did your teacher teach you that? Quote. Kun spread his hands helplessly, glanced at I-Chen beside him with a hint of resentment, and said. This is not taught by anyone, it is a lesson I learned from my father. Quote. The brother who was filming the video looked confused. Kun went on to explain. Every Chinese New Year, my father would find ways to cheat me out of my lucky money, so I know I must not let others know how much money I have. Quote. After the follow-up brother heard it. I almost couldn't help laughing out loud. At this time, the audience in the live broadcast room were also amused. Ha ha ha. Kun's little expression is so funny. He looks so pitiful because his dad cheated him out of his New Year's money. Closing square bracket. I-Chen, you are really good at cheating your son. You even took Kun's New Year's money. You are really good at cheating your son. Closing square bracket. It's okay, Kun, just trick your dad back in the game. Closing square bracket. I-Chen is so unkind, always cheating children out of their New Year's money, how come it's the same as mine? Close black lens bracket. In the studio. Wang Feng looked at the scene on the screen where Ai Chen and Kun Kun were in the mutton hot pot restaurant, her face full of disdain, and she snorted repeatedly. Said in a shrill voice. Look at this Ai Chen, he made a lot of money but let his children eat in a place like this, and he doesn't even mind the dirt. Quote, this environment is so unsanitary, how can it be good for children to eat? I don't know how he can be a father. Quote, she crossed her arms and looked at me with disdain. What's even worse is that he even cheated his own children out of their money, even their New Year's money. Quote, this is not loving your child at all, this is clearly treating your child as an ATM. There is no such father in the world. Quote, Wang Feng raised her chin slightly, thinking secretly in her heart. Humph, so what if the director of the Education Bureau is magnanimous to him, Ai Chen? Those predecessors in the education field will not let him off easily. She would like to see how Ai Chen was criticized by experts and professors during the online chat later. His twisted theories, which usually sound very reasonable, will be exposed in front of real experts and his ugly mask will be taken off. When the time comes, let the public take a good look and see that children should be educated in the way she agrees with, and they can no longer let Ai Chen do whatever she wants. However, the audience at this time ignored Wang Feng. Just watching Ai Chen's live broadcast room with interest. In a hot pot restaurant. Steaming hot and full of fragrance. Ai Chen brought in plate after plate of meat. He said enthusiastically to the brother who was filming him. Brother, come and eat something, you're welcome. Quote, the cameraman's eyes fell on the table full of dishes. The dishes looked very clean, and each plate of meat was not padded with ice. The portions were generous and thick, and it was indeed very affordable. The eldest brother was envious, but he still waved his hand to refuse. He knew clearly that there was a problem with the camera yesterday and he almost lost his job, so how could he dare to eat hot pot during working hours? The eldest brother turned to look at Kun Kun. Kun, you must be exhausted from the live broadcasts these past 2 days. Eat more. Quote, Kun smiled and nodded, but did not eat by himself. Instead, he picked up the chopsticks and kept picking up food for Ai Chen. In the live broadcast room, the audience saw this scene and expressed their feelings. Kun is so filial. He has been picking up food for Ai Chen before he even starts eating. At this time, Kun smiled mischievously. Dad, eat more. If you get too full, you won't have the energy to ask me to play games. Quote, hearing this, the audience in the live broadcast room couldn't help laughing, and the screen was full of cheerful laughter. It is said that like father, like son. Time flies. Several people stayed in the hot pot restaurant for several hours. It was almost evening when Ai Chen and the photographer slowly returned home. Prepared to attend the Hongmen banquet of education experts. Kun followed them and went into a cake shop downstairs when they passed by. Studio. Several high-profile education experts and professors filed in. As soon as they stepped in, they exuded an unusual aura, calm and majestic. The audience's attention was instantly drawn to them, and when they saw the faces of these people, they couldn't help but gasp. 2 well-known experts in the education field came this time. They often appear in the education programs of TV stations with their profound educational insights and rich practical experience. The parenting courses they promote on their TV shows are popular throughout China. Among them, the university professor is a household name. He comes from a family of educators. Since his grandfather's generation, his family has been devoted to the cause of education and has inherited profound educational concepts. He is good at using traditional Chinese culture as the cornerstone to educate the world. Many parents believe in his explanations and call him an education expert of his generation. In recent years, China has developed rapidly and has attached increasing importance to children's education. Various educational concepts are widely promoted. Their contribution is indispensable in this regard, such as, kindergarten is crucial, elementary school is crucial, junior high school is crucial, your whole life is crucial. Quote, everyone studies hard, and one day the world will know you as the top scholar. Quote, if you can't kill others, you will be the one to die. Quote, don't let your children lose at the starting line. Quote, various remedial classes and interest classes are emerging one after another, and even prenatal education classes are flocking to them. When it comes to education, these experts and professors cannot tolerate even a grain of sand in their eyes. And now, Chen's approach to education in the show goes against theirs. Not sand but a boulder. It made them angry. This time, these heavyweights in the education field gathered in the studio, and many people felt that this would be a feast of educational ideas. The number of people in the live broadcast room is increasing, and has reached nearly 700,000. Chapter 23, Debate with Scholars. Return home. Chen said to Kun, "Son, go back to your room and play for a while. Your dad has something important to do." Quote. Kun nodded. Chen took a deep breath, cheered himself up, walked straight to the computer, opened it and entered the live broadcast room of the Good Parenting program. At this time, the lights in the studio were bright, and several experts and professors were sitting upright, obviously having been waiting for a long time. Thanks to advanced equipment and high-quality network conditions, the delay of live broadcast is almost negligible. Soon, Chen's computer screen and the studio were successfully connected in high definition. Host Xiao Sa wore a professional smile. "Mr. Chen, these are the education experts and professors we specially invited today." Quote. "Let's not go through those tedious and empty procedures today. If you confirm that we can start the discussion, we can officially start today's topic." Quote. Chen quickly scanned the screen and saw observer Wang Feng among them. His eyes narrowed slightly for a moment. He was no stranger to this person. When I was watching videos before, I saw Wang Feng sharply criticizing myself in the live broadcast room. The other education experts all had stern expressions on their faces at this moment, looking at him with scrutiny. Chen knew nothing about them. But he didn't care about it and looked calm. These so-called experts are not convincing to him at all. Chen sat up slightly and said in a calm tone, "We can start now." Quote. The words fell. An education expert quickly responded. She is a leading lecturer at a renowned educational institution. Full of vigor and sharp words. Chen, I want to ask, when you let your child play games, have you ever considered that he might be poisoned by the games? Quote. Have you ever considered that his studies will be ruined because of this? Quote. Faced with her two questions that went straight to the point, Chen showed no fear at all. "I'm sorry, expert, I don't understand why you think games can harm children." Quote. "I don't understand why you focus on your child's studies first. Aren't you worried that your child will neglect other aspects of his life?" Quote. Chen used his own method to fight back and ask directly. Turning the tables is a common tactic in debates. Hearing this, the education expert's expression changed slightly. He snorted coldly and retorted, "Games are poisoning children. This is not just my personal opinion, but it is something that many parents have witnessed." Quote. "When children are in school, their studies naturally come first, as this is related to their future." Quote. Education experts, from the perspective of parents, put forward the view that academics come first. Chen smiled coldly. "When you questioned the academics, did you ever consider the child's feelings?" Quote. "How many children have elementary school homework that keeps them up until midnight? Haven't you heard their cries?" Quote. "What do you mean by study is the processing of standard parts on the assembly line, or a future tailored for him?" Quote. As soon as these words came out, the education expert's face became completely gloomy. Wang Feng on the side said angrily, "As a parent, if you don't consider your child's future, who will? If you don't consider it, what kind of father are you?" Quote. "What's wrong with the child having to endure some hardship in his studies? This is all for his own good." Quote. "Students should do what they are supposed to do, instead of taking them to play games like you do and being a game anchor." Quote. Chen glanced at Wang Feng. The speaking speed is neither fast nor slow and authentic. Haha, when you used study as a chain, did you ever ask your children if they were willing to be slaves to educational capital? Quote. As a father, I would rather see Kunkin playing games with me, because that makes me more proud than him staying up late to finish his homework. Quote. I want to help him escape the vicious circle of academic supremacy, but you want to keep him stuck in it for the rest of his life. Who is murdering the child's future? Quote. I don't know how many parents hold the knife of, this is for your own good, and force their children to hurt themselves. Who do you think is more guilty? Quote. Moral kidnapping. Who wouldn't do that? I chen these few words. Soon, several experts in the studio, including Wang Fang, felt a lot of pressure. They naturally won't admit that they are harming their children. He didn't even dare to admit what I chen called murder, in front of so many people in the live broadcast room, at this time. Another education expert spoke up. I chen, there's no need for you to argue. Studying well is the first step to success so you can get into college. Quote, and the students you mentioned who self-harm are only a minority. They only appear when they don't receive proper guidance from their parents. Quote, I chen smiled faintly at the expert's explanation. As the university gate the Dragon Gate, there are many fake universities in China, this is an indisputable fact. What I want to say is, how much of the knowledge taught in university can they use in the future? Quote, after entering society, many people will find that the knowledge they spent 4 years learning cannot even earn back the tuition fees for 4 years. Quote, employment pressure is high, but universities continue to expand enrollment. Why is this happening? Quote, what happens after you graduate from school and enter a company? Not to mention the high employment pressure and the fact that many people are cheated when looking for jobs. Even if you become a white-collar worker in a company, you will still be working 996. Quote, it's the endless exploitation of you by the capitalists and the intrigues of your colleagues around you. Quote, is this what you would call success? Quote, is success really 99% perspiration? Quote, you asked me if I had considered my child's education. I only knew that when he rushed over to me with a smile and said, Dad, I made a lot of money from live streaming, and I can go out for a good meal, I couldn't bear to kill that smile. Quote, similarly, I wouldn't bet that he wasn't the kid who harmed himself or even committed suicide. Quote, so, for me, the greatest success is for my children to be happy. Quote, I chen talked freely. The sound is not loud, but it is powerful. Soon. The comments in the live broadcast room were boiling. Damn it. I looked in the mirror in the live studio. After graduating from college, the knowledge I learned is completely useless. I feel like all the tuition I paid wasted. After graduation, I ran into obstacles everywhere when looking for a job. I was also cheated by unscrupulous companies. In the end, I joined a company that works 996. I was exhausted and had to be on guard against my colleagues stabbing me in the back. Closing square bracket. My cousin is an example. His family forced him to take the traditional path to higher education, but his grades never improved, and he was very depressed. Later, he chose to learn baking, and he is happy every day. He has also won many awards and competitions. Now he is shining in his favorite field. It is true that a happy child is the greatest success. Closing square bracket. Isn't there a saying that interest is the greatest teacher for children? There are top talents in all 360 professions, so why do we have to force children to have good academic performance? Closing square bracket. My eyes are filled with tears. My parents always forced me to study since I was young, and I was beaten with sticks when I was growing up. Although I am a good student now, I have low self-esteem and even felt like I was going to be depressed. Closing square bracket. I chen really touched my heart. But how many parents can listen to me? Besides, in our current environment. Closing square bracket. The strong cannot protect the weak, but I am the weak. I promised to help the weak, but why do you always catch me? Closing square bracket. Study like a slave, work like a slave, get married, have children, buy a house and a car, take out various loans to support your children to continue to be slaves, he. Closing square bracket. The barrage of comments resonated strongly. However, the university professor, who had been silent, suddenly stood up. Glare. I chen, I didn't expect you to have such a sharp tongue. Quote, I've listened to you for so long, and I finally figured out your true self. Quote, you are a selfish person who puts entertainment first. Quote, a great man once said that we should study for the rise of China. Young men should study hard and serve the country. Quote, and you only care about your own enjoyment when raising children. If everyone is like you, how can the country prosper? Chapter 24 Education is closed. I Chen's birthday cake. The professor's face was filled with anger. The atmosphere in the live broadcast room suddenly became tense. Ai Chen calmly looked at the 50-year-old, gray-haired professor on the screen. With a hint of doubt on his face, he asked, "Who is this person?" Quote, before the host Xiao Sa had time to introduce them, the old man couldn't wait to start shouting loudly, his tone full of arrogance. "I am Chen Jianye, a professor of Chinese studies at Huaguo University." Quote, "My ancestors have all dedicated themselves to the education sector, which is why we have achieved such a great reputation today." Quote, "I never thought that a young boy like you could be admired by so many people. It's really ridiculous." Quote, when Ai Chen heard the name, his mind quickly recalled some remarks about the professor. "I couldn't help but sneer." Then he pretended to be surprised, raised his voice and spoke in a long tone. "Oh, so he is a great education master." Quote, hearing Ai Chen calling him like this, Chen Jianye's face suddenly showed a smug look. He raised his chin slightly, his eyes full of arrogance. But before he could fully enjoy the satisfaction brought by the title of master, Ai Chen's next words pierced him straight like a sharp blade. Ai Chen raised a mocking smile at the corner of his mouth, and said slowly, "Master, you are really boastful and like to teach others." Quote, "I've heard some of your theories before. They are so rotten." Quote, as soon as these words were spoken, the live broadcast room was silent for a moment, and then the barrage of comments rolled like crazy like a tide. The audience was shocked by Ai Chen's sudden and sharp remarks. Wang Feng on the side was so shocked that she stood up. "Oh my god, what's wrong with Ai Chen? He actually confronted Professor Chen Jianye, a famous education master. 666, this is too exciting. I have heard the so-called professor's remarks before, such as the theory that women's education is useless. I was so angry at that time. How can such a person be qualified to be a professor? Closing square bracket. Is what the above person said true or false? Is this really something that can be said to educate everyone? Then I think Ai Chen is right to scold. Closing square bracket. Haha, there are so many things in this world that you think are outrageous. There are many outrageous points in the opinions put forward by these so-called experts. The key is that many of them have been realized. Closing square bracket. That's right. I originally thought that taking holidays and adjusting rest days was outrageous. I didn't expect that a few days ago I saw a university professor suggesting to simply cancel 2/3 of holidays in order to catch up with Eagle Magnesium as soon as possible. But the other party is a professor after all, and has considerable influence in the education field. Moreover, the other party has even brought it to the national level. Ai Chen will not suffer any loss, right? Closing square bracket. The barrage was worried about Ai Chen. The production crew backstage were also worried about whether they could keep their show. Looking at Ai Chen and Chen Jianye confronting each other on the stage, the staff were already sweating profusely. The original plan was to let them discuss and exchange ideas, but it ended up being a round-robin battle. Everyone speaks so sharply. It's really scary when intellectuals quarrel. The director prayed madly in his heart that they could take it easy. In the studio, the person involved, Chen Jianye's face suddenly turned red, and his whole body trembled with anger. "What did you say?" Quote, "How dare you humiliate me?" Quote, considering that he is in the education field, what he hears most is flattery from others, and he has never heard such sharp words. You are misleading the people and distorting the seriousness of education into entertainment first. Quote, you are ruining your child's future and treating his education as a joke. You are unworthy of being a father. Quote, you are rude and have no manners at all. It is hard to imagine how miserable a child living in such a family is. How can he be happy? Quote, Chen Jianye listed Ai Chen's 3 major crimes one after another. At first, he just wanted to teach Ai Chen a lesson and make him repent. Unexpectedly, this person was so stubborn and even provoked and humiliated him. Now it's no wonder that he is so ruthless. These 3 sentences hit the nail on the head, not wanting to give Ai Chen a chance to breathe. Just at this moment, there was a knock on Ai Chen's door. Ai Chen originally had no intention of paying attention to the furious Chen Jianye, and directly stood up to open the door. But before he could do anything, the bedroom door creaked open. Kunkin ran out and shouted, "I'll go open it," as he ran towards the door. After a while, Kunkin came in holding a large box in his hands with great effort, shouting, "Dad, come and help me, this is too heavy." I Chen hurriedly stood up and quickly stepped forward to help Kun Kun put the big box on the coffee table in the living room. He looked at Kun Kun with doubts in his eyes and asked, Kun Kun, what is this? Kunkun's face was filled with a bright smile, his eyes were shining, and he said excitedly, Happy birthday, Dad. Congratulations on getting another year older, haha. When I Chen heard this, he was stunned for a moment, with a confused look on his face. Today is actually his birthday, and he himself forgot it. Kun Kun didn't wait for I Chen to react. While saying, this is the big cake I bought for you with the money I earned from live streaming. While unable to wait to open the box, an exquisite cake appeared before your eyes, with beautiful candles on it, exuding an enticing sweet aroma. I Chen looked at the cake in front of him, then at Kun Kun's happy smile, and a warm feeling surged in his heart, and he was a little dazed. In his memory, the relationship between the original body and Kun Kun was always full of alienation and indifference, and there had never been such an intimate and harmonious moment. He reached out and touched Kun Kun's head, and said softly, Thank you, son. Kun raised his little face and put his hands on his hips. He imitated an adult and said, No need to thank me, Dad. This is my filial piety as a son. I Chen burst out laughing. You little brat, your father is still young. At this time, the audience in the live broadcast room went wild, and everyone was shocked by the heartwarming scene before them. Oh my god, I didn't expect Kun Kun to buy a cake for I Chen's birthday. The way this father and son get along is so good. So enviable. Closing square bracket. I Chen's son is really filial. He used the money he earned from live streaming to buy a cake for his father. It's rare to see such children nowadays. Closing square bracket. Oh my god, I'm almost moved to tears. No, I have to watch the video of the two I Chens playing games and putting pressure on Kun Kun to calm down. Closing square bracket. It is really rare for a father and son to have such a close relationship. Normally, fathers and sons don't talk so much and are always more reserved. Closing square bracket. Is this the benefit of not forcing children to study? I Chen respects children, and children also respond with love and care. This is a healthy parent-child relationship. Closing square bracket. Okay, now I stand against Professor Chen Jianye. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket. At this moment, I Chen's education has been closed. Close black lens bracket. The audience's emotions kept rolling on the screen, and everyone's emotions were infected by the warmth between the father and son. Everyone in the studio was stunned when they saw this scene. This 8-year-old child is not only lively and cheerful, but also so close to I Chen. I Chen asked Kun Kun to go back to the room first and make a wish and cut the cake later. Kun Kun obediently returned to the room. Look at the experts in the studio again. Professor Chen Jianye, you said that my education is entertainment first. I'm afraid you haven't read the Modernization of Chinese Education 2028, released by the Ministry of Education. It says in black and white, change the way of educating people. You say that cultivating children's skills other than learning is entertainment first. I think the rote learning you are adhering to is the golden rule, and not changing with the development of the times is the greatest entertainment. Of course, it's stupid. You're the one who said the fraction-only theory, right? You said that if you don't enter a university, you are not worthy of being a scholar, right? You have the mindset of a zombie in the imperial examination system, and you regard the 8-part essay education as the Bible. You are just like an old man who hung his head on the beam and pierced his thigh with a needle. If you were not an ignorant parent, trying to please the capital and get flattered, would you be called an education master? Look at which of your educational theories is consistent with the country's educational policy. I think you are the cancer that is harming the country. Besides, what's wrong with me educating my children and having some fun? The country is now stimulating consumption, so isn't it also a contribution if we have some fun? Chapter 25. As you can see, my son and I are very happy. I Chen's words were like a heavy bomb, hitting Chen Jianye directly. A cancer that harms the country. These 4 words came out clearly from I Chen's mouth, instantly making the atmosphere in the entire live broadcast room freeze to the extreme. When Chen Jianye heard this sharp accusation, his body shook violently, he staggered and almost fell to the ground. His eyes widened. He originally wanted to put a hat on Ai Chen, but he never expected that the other party would put a bigger and heavier hat on him. Chen Jianye opened his mouth and wanted to refute, but his throat seemed to be blocked by something and no sound came out. Ai Chen said that he was ignorant and pedantic, and he could still force himself not to admit it in his heart, but when it came to pleasing the capital, his heart was like being hit by a heavy hammer. He did those things. He appeared on some TV shows, ostensibly to promote educational ideas, but in fact he was helping some bosses promote their educational institutions, and he himself also gained a lot of benefits from it. At this moment, he felt cold sweat on his back and didn't dare to say another word. He was afraid that if he spoke again, more scandals would be exposed and his reputation would be ruined. Ai Chen didn't stop. He looked directly at Chen Jianye on the other side of the screen and continued speaking righteously. You keep accusing me of treating children's education as a joke, but in my opinion, what I advocate is a true way of combining education with entertainment. Quote, does the way of education have to be that every parent holds a stick and forces their children to learn in pain? Quote, if this is the case, the children we train will be nothing more than machines without thoughts and only know how to obey. Quote, he paused slightly, took a deep breath, and gave an earnest admonition. As a parent, the first thing you should do is put yourself in your child's shoes. Quote, when parents blindly force their children to study, aren't there any obsessions of their own mixed in? Quote, those parents who have lived their whole lives in a muddle and have accomplished nothing, place all their hopes on their children, hoping that they can become successful. Quote, I really want to ask a question on behalf of the children. Can two Daltons Vinci's really give birth to a Da Vinci? Quote, speaking of, Ai Chen moved to the side. The camera is facing the cake on the coffee table. Ai Chen raised his chin slightly, smiled, and spoke loudly. You always like to talk a lot, but do you really understand the definition of happiness? Quote, for me, happiness is not an unattainable fantasy goal, but a tangible warmth. Quote, it means having healthy family members around without illness or disaster. It means having a stable life without having to worry about making a living. It means being able to hear the laughter of children from time to time, which is the most beautiful sound in the world. Quote, as for my children's academic performance, I never force them. Quote, if children study well, have the ability and ambition, they can serve the country and realize their own value. Quote, if your academic performance is average, that's fine. Being able to have a happy family and enjoy the happiness of family life is also a kind of happiness. Quote, everyone has their own unique understanding and definition of happiness. This is a personal choice and feeling. You are just a self-righteous outsider. You have no right to point fingers and impose your own ideas on others. Quote, and as you can see, my son and I are very happy. Quote, Ai Chen said this. Several education experts in the studio, as well as Chen Jianye, were a little stunned. Ai Chen is a post-O, but his debating mind is so agile that no matter from which aspect they criticize Ai Chen, he not only responds to every word, but also makes them unable to refute. As for Ai Chen himself, he didn't feel that he was debating at all. There is no fixed pattern in educating children. What he said was just following his heart, at this time. The audience in the live broadcast room has once again been deeply touched by Ai Chen's remarks. Alas, I have always pushed my child to get the first place in the class. He is under a lot of pressure and I am tired. When I heard Ai Chen say that it is enough for the child to be healthy and happy, I remembered that he once cried and begged me not to push him anymore. I was really wrong. Happiness is the happiness of the family, not the grades. Closing square bracket. I used to think that children can only be happy if they succeed. When I was sick and hospitalized, my child was only 13 years old and was busy taking care of me. At that moment, I understood that family companionship is important. Ai Chen's words woke me up and I stopped forcing my child. Closing square bracket. In order to let the child learn various specialties, the family is in chaos. Thinking back to the joy of playing with the sand when the child was young, I really shouldn't deprive him of his childhood. Closing square bracket. Great. If the child studies well, he will serve the country. If not, he will be kept by your parents. My child has average grades but is very filial. Closing square bracket. Now I understand what those posts say on the internet. Bitterness first and sweetness later is fake, sweetness first is real sweetness. This is the definition of happiness. Closing square bracket. Accept your own ordinariness, and also accept your children's ordinariness. We, the post-O, will definitely become our children's best friends. Closing square bracket. Ellipsis ellipsis. Municipal Education Bureau. Lin Weiman, who was watching the show, suddenly heard his phone ring. Hello, teacher. Why are you calling? Quote. I-Chen. What it means is, quote, hang up the phone. Lin Weiman took a deep look at I-Chen on the live broadcast screen. I didn't expect that the higher-ups have already started paying attention to I-Chen. As for the above attitude, the teacher told him vaguely. He also didn't understand how the higher-ups viewed I-Chen. What put him at ease was that the call from the teacher was not an order, which at least showed that the higher-ups did not intend to criticize I-Chen. However, the pace of the live broadcast room of good parenting was very intense at this time, and many people were trying to stir up disputes. For I-Chen, it is also a risk. After thinking for a moment, he made a phone call. Soon, the production team of How to Raise Children received an official call, asking them to end the online communication and close the live broadcast in advance. When I-Chen received the news that the live broadcast of the program would be closed early, he didn't think much about it. He just said something lightly into the live broadcast room. Goodbye everyone, I'm going to go eat cake first. Quote. That's all. Today's program ended early. In the studio, several education experts sat in their seats and did not stand up for a long time. I don't know if it was because I felt embarrassed or I was thinking about something. As for Wang Fang, at this moment, his face was full of unwillingness. This live broadcast not only failed to criticize I-Chen, but instead increased his arrogance. This made her very depressed. Today's live broadcast was a tit-for-tat affair. I-Chen's words shocked everyone while deeply touching them. When this live broadcast was edited and posted on the internet, there was an uproar immediately. While many parents were touched, the sentence, if you study well, you will serve the motherland, and if you don't study well, you will be taken care of by your parents, made many students cry. Their childhood was replaced by various interest classes, and they lived in high pressure from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. in middle school. College was much easier, but the burden after graduation came suddenly and could weigh on them for the rest of their lives. In various high-pressure educational environments, what students hate most is the various repressive and coercive educations from their parents. I-Chen undoubtedly spoke out the words that had been suppressed for a long time on their behalf. Of course, there are 1,000 Hamlets among 1,000 people, and quite a few people still maintain a rational attitude towards this matter. The road is under your feet, and others have no right to tell you what to do. Only you can tell yourself the answer to how to go. In general, students have their own thoughts and parents have their own concerns. The world is not universal. The fact that I-Chen is able to gain the approval of most people is an important reason why he is so popular today. Ellipsis ellipsis. Wang Fang returned home feeling very upset. She thought she could go home to calm down, but as soon as she entered the house, she realized something was wrong. In the living room, the daughter and her husband were sitting on the sofa in silence, and the atmosphere was particularly depressing. On the coffee table, a white sheet lay quietly. Wang Fang frowned and spoke out of habit. Jiaxin, why are you still sitting on the sofa? It's your senior year and time is tight. Go back to your room and study. Quote. As soon as he finished speaking, the husband, who had been silent all this time, suddenly stood up. His eyes were red and his face was full of anger. Study, study, all you do every day is ask her to study. Look at what this is. Quote. As he said this, he grabbed the white sheet on the coffee table and threw it in front of Wang Fang. Wang Fang was shocked by her husband's sudden attitude. You know, her husband always listens to her. What happened today? She felt uneasy and looked down at the list on the ground. When she saw the content clearly, her head suddenly went blank. It was a medical record, and in the diagnosis column, the 3 words, depression, were written in large letters. Chapter 26 How can I get depression when I am fine? Wang Fang's lips trembled slightly, and she was speechless for a moment. After a long while, she finally spoke, stammering. How is this possible? How could my daughter be suffering from depression? Did the doctor misdiagnose her? Quote, the man's face was full of anger, and his voice was filled with uncontrollable anger and pain. It's you who has been putting pressure on our daughter. Quote, the child has told you many times that she doesn't want to stay in that class. She can't handle such high-intensity learning. Quote, also, you beat my daughter when she didn't do well in the last monthly exam. If she hadn't told the doctor about this, I wouldn't have known about it. Quote, the child is already this big, and you still beat her. This disease is caused by you. Quote, the man's roar echoed in my ears. Wang Feng was a little flustered by her husband's accusations. He did feel that beating his daughter was inappropriate, but she was anxious at the time, so she couldn't hold back. Then she stammered in her defense. I am also doing this for the good of my child. I want her to get into a good university and find a good job after graduation so that people can respect her. Quote, by then, you can find a good family through blind dating. Quote, as she spoke, she seemed to find her confidence again, and she sounded more and more confident. They say if you don't work hard when you're young, you'll regret it when you grow up. Look at you, you don't care about your child's studies at all. Quote, if I hadn't worried about it, would my child be able to go to such a good high school today? Quote, the man took a step forward. Wang Feng. Quote, it's already this time and you're still talking about this. Quote, what's the point of having academic performance? The child is already like this. Quote, he shouted loudly, feeling full of self-blame. He was on business trips all year round and had little time to spend with his daughter, so the task of educating the child was left to Wang Feng. I didn't expect this to happen when my child was about to become an adult. Wang Feng's heart suddenly tightened and she asked with some guilt. Then, what should we do? Quote, the level of depression is a bit high, and the doctor recommended that you take a year off from school, the man said heavily. No. Quote, Wang Feng was anxious when she heard this. Senior year of high school is a critical period. If you take a year off, you may forget all the knowledge you learned in high school. Besides, she has been working hard for her daughter's studies for so many years, just hoping that her daughter will bring her good news in this year's college entrance examination. Now that all her efforts have been wasted, she refuses to do anything. She rushed over to her daughter who had been sitting on the sofa in silence. Joshine, tell mom that you're fine. You're the strongest. Let's grit our teeth and get through this senior year, okay? Quote, but her daughter still ignored her and just stared at her phone intently. Wang Feng then discovered that her daughter's cell phone screen. It was Ai Chen and her son Kun Kun happily eating cake, both of their faces filled with warmth and happiness. This made Wang Feng's heart feel like it was hit by a heavy hammer, and she froze in place. The memories of my time with my daughter over the years flashed back through my mind. My daughter seems to rarely smile like this, and our family rarely has such a happy time. At this time, Joshine slowly raised her head and looked at Wang Feng. A tear fell from the rim of his thick glasses, dripping on the back of her hand. Mom, I don't want to go to school now, can you let me rest for a few days? Quote, his words were full of exhaustion and pleading. Wang Feng subconsciously wanted to persuade her to go to school. Those words about the importance of studying and not giving up easily were already on her lips. But when she saw her daughter's painful eyes, the words came to her throat and were swallowed back. She opened her mouth, hesitated for a long time, and finally said nothing. At this time, the man silently walked to his daughter, slowly squatted down, and gently held his daughter in his arms. When he heard his daughter just say she wanted to rest for a few days, his nose suddenly felt sore and tears flowed uncontrollably. He said with a choked voice, "Daughter, let's not go to school. Take your medicine at home and have a good rest. You can go when you want to. Quote, Dad just wants you to be healthy and happy." Quote, after saying that, the man looked at Wang Feng beside him. "I don't want my daughter to go to a good university, I just want her to be healthy and happy. I hope you don't insist on doing it, because it will be too late to regret it then." Quote, as Wang Feng listened to her husband's words, she felt as if an invisible force had drained away all the strength in her body. Her legs went limp and she slumped to the ground, staring blankly at the warm and joyful scene of Ai Chen's home on her phone. The smiles on Ai Chen and Kun Kun's faces were like a sharp knife, piercing her heart. Is she really wrong? Everything she did was for her children and she wanted to be responsible for their future. She grew up in hardship and struggled for life every day. She didn't want her children to follow in her footsteps and wanted them to live a rich life. Reading can change your destiny. Ellipsis ellipsis. The other side. Ai Chen finished the recording of Keeping a Good Parent a few days early, and then opened his live broadcast account to broadcast his birthday live. I spent a long while talking with those experts in the studio, so you can imagine how huge this wave of traffic was. How could he just sit there and do nothing in the face of traffic? As expected, as soon as the show started, the number of people online quickly reached over 100,000. In the live broadcast room, Ai Chen played with Kun's son all night. At this time, Kun had fallen asleep exhausted. Ai Chen also ended the live broadcast. He went to the bathroom and washed off the cake that Kun had smeared on his face. A familiar system prompt sounded in my mind. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 50,000 reputation points. Current reputation value is 99,314. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket tip. One lucky draw is available now. Close black lens bracket. Ai Chen was a little surprised to hear that the reputation points had been credited to his account, and then he immediately said, "Lottery." Quote, "Congratulations to the host for obtaining the skill, top-level ring tossing technique. Closing square bracket. I always hit the target, and the boss was heartbroken and in tears." Close black lens bracket. Ai Chen. Quote, "The word, ring, attracted Ai Chen's attention. This kind of game is still very common in amusement parks and night markets. The things displayed on the boss's stall are varied and there is nothing he dares not to display, except for things he cannot think of." Ai Chen's mouth corners slightly raised. "It just so happens that there are a lot of things missing at home. This little skill I got is still useful. I'll take Kun to visit the boss and buy some supplies next time." I took a look at the accumulated reputation value, which is already over 190,000. I will soon be able to unlock the achievement and get a cash reward of 200,000. Ai Chen was not in a hurry to get the 200,000 yuan in cash. Nowadays, thanks to live streaming, the money I earn from gifts in a day is dozens of times what I used to earn from placing orders. Maybe he will earn the 200,000 yuan himself in a few days. And he doesn't have much spending at the moment. What he is more concerned about is whether new functions will appear in the system after unlocking the achievement. After Ai Chen came out of the bathroom, he did not choose to go back to the bedroom to sleep. Instead, he habitually lay down on the sofa, opened the Douyin app and started watching videos. As soon as it was opened, several of the videos he scrolled through were clips of his previous confrontations with education experts. At this point, the comment section was split into two camps. One group agrees with what he said and believes that there are big problems with the current education philosophy and that many social problems are linked to education philosophy. One group believes that he is too radical and that although there are problems, they are not that serious. Seeing some of the latter's remarks, Ai Chen couldn't help but shook his head. What he said during the live broadcast was not an exaggeration at all. It is real and common in this world and this country. The times are developing rapidly. If we still deal with current problems according to the previous educational thinking, then this generation will surely be crushed by the times. Today's society is becoming more and more complicated. In the past, if you worked hard and struggled, the results might be quite significant. But now, everyone around you is competing, and your efforts are in vain. Parents always place their hopes on their children, believing that as long as their children keep rolling, they will be able to turn things around and not follow in their footsteps. But many issues were ignored. Everyone is competing, so why should your child stand out? You are testing your child to see if he or she is really willing and happy. So what Ai Chen wants to do is to make everyone realize that utilitarian education is not desirable and nothing is more important than the happiness of children. Think of this. Ai Chen did not continue to watch the video. Instead, click on the homepage of your account. Since he registered his account, he has not posted a single video. As soon as he clicked on it, he was surprised to find that he had as many as 600,000 fans. You know, he He only registered this account 2 or 3 days ago. Just at this moment, a message suddenly popped up in the message bar. Hello Mr. I Chen, can you please help us to run an advertisement? Chapter 27 Take My Dad Back. I Chen took a closer look. The main body of the advertisement is the circle recycling that can be seen everywhere on Douyin. I didn't expect that someone would come to me to advertise after just 2 days. Quote, am I the kind of person who would take advantage of my fans? Quote, I Chen didn't say anything and directly sent this message. Pinned. The money is already at your doorstep. If you don't make money now, when will you? Quick reply, expand it. Quote, soon. The other party sent another message. The words are very tempting. Mr. I Chen, you don't have to do anything else. You just need to say a few words of our recycled advertising slogans with your son in the live broadcast room, and we will give you 100,000 yuan. Quote, I Chen raised his eyebrows, thinking that this was quite generous, but his own live broadcast room had over 100,000 hits, and a mere 100,000 yuan seemed a bit too little. He thought about it and replied, that's my son, he's only 8 years old. How can I just ask him to be in an advertisement? It will have a bad influence. Quote, no. Quote, the other party replied quickly. Okay, sorry to bother you. Quote, it costs extra money. Quote, circle recycling. Quote, ellipsis. The next morning, the morning light shines through the gap in the curtains and falls on I Chen's face. He went to bed early last night, so he got up extra early today. I just feel refreshed. He picked up his phone as usual, and as soon as he unlocked it, he saw messages flashing in the parents group. When I clicked on it, I found out it was a notice from the class teacher. As many students in the school have been infected with influenza in recent days, the school has decided to give 2 days off for everyone's health and safety. I Chen frowned slightly. Doesn't that mean he can't order takeout meals again? But I felt a little relieved when I thought that my son could have a good rest at home. I Chen, as usual, subconsciously glanced at the door in the living room, only to find that the filming brother of the program team did not show up at home as usual today. He was just a little confused in his mind and didn't think about it anymore. After all, shooting schedules often change. Finished washing up. He didn't feel hungry either, so he started today's live broadcast. After a while, prompts for audience entry kept popping up on the screen of the live broadcast room, and the popularity quickly rose. Oh, it's rare that I Chen didn't sleep in today. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, I won't buy the food and ask my son to cook it like last time. Closing square bracket. Hey, the show isn't going to air today. What's going on? Closing square bracket. Maybe the guys who were following the video have caught the flu, the other 2 live broadcast rooms are not live yet. Close black lens bracket. I heard that the flu is quite serious recently, and it seems that Sunshine Primary School has been closed for 2 days. Closing square bracket. Ellipsis. The audience was talking at once, but I Chen didn't pay much attention. I was just planning to play a couple of games. I glanced to the side and found that Kun had not yet gotten up. It's past 8 o'clock now. At this time of day on weekdays, Kun would have already gotten up. What happened today? Full of doubts, I Chen walked briskly towards Kun's room holding the mobile phone that was live streaming. He pushed the door open and shouted loudly. Kun, what time is it? Why are you still sleeping in? Hurry up and get up to practice shooting with daddy. Quote, but when his eyes fell on the bed, he was stunned for a moment. I saw that Kun was not sleeping, but lying on the bed. The pen in his hand was moving as fast as flying, and he was writing furiously. I Chen walked over quickly. What are you doing, little brat? You're doing your homework in bed so quietly in the morning. What's the point? Quote, Kun shouted while writing in a hurry. It's all your fault. You kept dragging me to play games. I forgot to do my homework. Now I have to make up for it. Quote, after saying this, he glanced at his watch quickly, and then broke down and cried. It's over. I'm already late. I haven't even finished writing yet. Quote, seeing this scene, the audience in the live broadcast room laughed so hard that they fell over. Kun is so pitiful. I Chen dragged him to play games and he forgot to do his homework. He hurriedly made up for it early in the morning. But why do I want to laugh so much? Closing square bracket. If the child likes to study, let him study for a while. Not all children are suitable for playing games. Studying is also a way out. Closing square bracket. Hey, why does this sentence above sound more and more wrong the more I listen to it? Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, getting up early to practice shooting, listen to me, is this human language? So strict, when the results come out later, what will we do if the results go up? Closing square bracket. It seems that other people's sons are doing their homework early in the morning. My son is not so self-conscious. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, Kunken probably doesn't know that school is closed today. Closing square bracket. Chen looked at Kun, who was concentrating on writing and looked embarrassed. His face was full of disappointment. I just told you the story about the internet cafe at 4 a.m. yesterday, and now you're getting up at 4 a.m. to do your homework. Quote, my son is only 8 years old. Chen was unwilling to let him bear the burden of homework. He paused and continued, your school is on holiday for 2 days. You don't have to go to school today, so there's no rush for your homework. Quote, you are now at a good age to practice shooting, hurry up and get up and practice shooting with me. Quote, when he heard the word, holiday, Kunken, who had been concentrating on his homework, raised his head. His face was full of suspicion and his eyes were staring straight at Chen. Asked, Dad, are you sure it's a school holiday, and not a holiday you gave me privately? Quote, the last time he was late, his father said he would ask for leave for him, so this time he couldn't help but wonder if Chen was doing the same old trick again. Chen said unhappily. The flu is serious outside right now, so the school is closed. Quote, he glanced at Kun's messy hair that looked like a chicken coop and urged. Stop talking nonsense, get up and wash up, and then play a few games with me. Quote, seeing Chen's serious face, Kun finally breathed a sigh of relief, and his originally tense body relaxed a little. Who understands the pain of making up homework? But even so, he still looked at Chen firmly and said seriously. No, I can't listen to you this time, Dad. Quote, before, I didn't finish my homework because I listened to you playing games. This time, I must finish my homework first. Quote, Chen saw Kun was so stubborn, he got angry and shouted. Don't hesitate, you idiot. Get up first. If you don't get up, I'll let you see what fatherly love is like. Quote, as he said that, he reached out and wanted to pull Kun. Kun looked helpless. He climbed out of the bed and complained as he got up. You keep saying you love me, but in the end, you just want me to be your playmate. You really are my real father. Quote, ellipsis. After washing up, I had breakfast. With Kunken's persistence, he finished the rest of his homework. I sat down next to Chen and started my playtime life today. The atmosphere was originally quite relaxed, until Chen took his son and started solo. The stressful scene that the audience loves to see has begun again. Chen successfully killed Kun several times in a row with his superb operation. Looking at the results on the screen, a smug look appeared on his face, and he did not forget to put pressure on Kun. If you're new, just practice more. This is the consequence of not practicing shooting with me. Look, I've reduced you to 0 to 20. Quote, Kun was shocked and angry when he looked at his disastrous performance. Shouted, Dad, are you really open? How come you suddenly become so powerful? I've never seen you so powerful before. Quote, Chen heard Kun's question and said with disdain, I can use cheats. You really underestimate your father. Quote, do you want to learn? If you want to learn, I'll teach you. Quote, after saying this, Chen suddenly changed the subject and pointed the live camera directly at himself. Then he spoke seriously. If you want to type as smoothly as I do, you need a good device. This is a second-hand computer I bought on Quan. It's more than 3,000 yuan cheaper than a new one. Quan is an official second-hand platform, more formal than other second-hand computers. The old computers I replaced are recycled on Quan. It's very convenient to place an order and someone will come to recycle them. If you like the price, you can pay on the spot. In short, just listen to me and go to Quan for buying and selling second-hand computers. Quote, Kunken. Quote, audience in the live broadcast room. Opening square bracket question mark question mark question mark. Good man, are you sure you are teaching Kunkin how to play games instead of beating Guangxi? Closing square bracket. 666, I don't even want to act anymore. I've never seen Guangxi so smooth. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket, let my adopted son earn money. Close black lens bracket. Ha ha ha, it's recycling, right? Avoid the lightning, avoid the lightning. Closing square bracket. It seems that our Ibo is also in love, and he has also picked up Guangxi. I have to take my adopted son out for a good meal. Closing square bracket. If you dare to advertise now, you will dare to attack your fans in the future. Charming anchor, I will unfollow you. Closing square bracket. Dad, when did you take the commercial? Quote. Kun almost couldn't hold back his laughter when he saw I Chen reading. After the commercial, I Chen said to Kun in a bad mood. What are you looking at? Go practice your spear skills. If I kill you so many times again, you'll have to practice on the trail for 3 hours. Quote. I heard that we were going to take the trail again. Kunkin's little face suddenly fell. Woo woo woo, there's no one like you. Quote. Does this circle take my father back? Take my father back. Chapter 28 was blocked. Online war of words. Ellipsis ellipsis. While I Chen was live streaming. The other side. The highly anticipated program, How to Raise Children, was originally broadcast at a fixed time every day. But today, the audience waited in front of the screen but waited for a long time to see the familiar opening scene. Everyone was full of doubts. You know, in the past, the programs have always been broadcast on time and this situation has never happened. Even if there is a problem with one of the family's live broadcast rooms, the other live broadcast rooms will still broadcast as usual. Not only that, I Chen's previous connection with education experts ended extremely hastily. This series of unusual situations made many viewers who were looking forward to the show restless. Soon, the audience took action and some called the program crew's contact number to find out what was going on. Many people also went to the official account of the program team on Douyin to leave comments. However, there was no official response. Just when everyone was confused, a heavy topic suddenly emerged on the internet. The program, Good Parenting, was asked to make rectifications, and I Chen will no longer appear in the program in the future. As soon as this news came out, it caused a huge uproar. The news spread quickly on the internet. At this time, many people with deep interest left messages under the topic. Haha, people like I Chen should have been banned long ago. How can such a serious program like Family Education have such a ridiculous educational method as his? Closing square bracket. I just want to say one thing, he deserves it. The result of sensationalism and gaining traffic is that he will be backfired by the traffic. What right does he have to question education experts? What right does he have to question university professors? He is just a lousy gamer. Closing square bracket. Do you know why the live broadcast ended suddenly yesterday? It was because the people above noticed I Chen. How could the country allow such an outrageous education method? Closing square bracket. That's right, otherwise why would a good live broadcast end so suddenly, and it hasn't even started today. Only if the country takes action will a clown like I Chen be scared. Closing square bracket. Hee, I Chen is still live streaming his game now. He can really sit still. Are those who like to watch his live streaming mentally ill? Closing square bracket. The production team of Fostering Good Parenting also bears great responsibility for not reminding I Chen of his reckless behavior. This is a typical example of inaction, and they deserve to be asked to make corrections. Closing square bracket. Ellipsis ellipsis. There has been a lot of controversy surrounding I Chen. Incited by these rumors, many people also joined in. There are all kinds of people in this community, even those who don't know I Chen at all have joined in. They are just jealous that I Chen is so popular and can make so much money just by doing a live broadcast. Soon. The criticisms were overwhelming. Some accused I Chen of taking the education in the wrong direction, while others denounced the program team for poor review. Various negative comments are flooding various social platforms. Of course, there are still many people who remain rational. Some people always remain skeptical about those confident statements. They feel that they cannot easily draw conclusions without solid evidence, and the official of good parenting has not yet come out to respond to this matter. Another group of people were more direct. They couldn't stand those random accusations without any basis and responded decisively. There is no official statement. What are you spreading here? Is it fun to spread rumors? Closing square bracket. A bunch of followers, don't just believe everything you hear. Can't you wait for the official news to come out before you speak? You just follow the trend and bark here. Closing square bracket. I looked at the accounts of these people, most of them are rookie accounts, don't you understand? It's clear that the water army is leading the rhythm. Closing square bracket. Haha, it's obvious that they are behind this. Let's not learn from their lack of quality, just wait for the show to start and slap them in the face. Closing square bracket. When I saw the criticism of Ai Chen on the internet, Wang Feng felt very happy. Because of her daughter's matter, she had some doubts about whether her past actions were correct, but now it seems, what did she do wrong? And she chatted with her best friend all night last night, and she felt that children nowadays are too pampered. I feel psychological pressure all the time and feel uncomfortable here and there. Wang Feng felt that what the other party said made sense. So I made a physical training plan for my daughter overnight. Haha, Ai Chen, it seems that there are still many people who hate your way of education. Quote, she felt somewhat proud when she thought that Ai Chen would not appear on the show in the future. As the war of words continues to develop. In the meeting room of the Good Parenting program team. The atmosphere was so heavy that it seemed as if water could be squeezed out of it. Chief Director Zhou Ping looked haggard. Having not slept all night, he had dark circles under his eyes as heavy as panda eyes, his brows were furrowed, and his eyes were full of fatigue and anxiety. A staff member stood up and broke the oppressive silence. Director Zhou, the audience is urging us to start the show, and the internet is abuzz with people discussing whether Ai Chen is going to be banned. Quote, immediately afterwards, another staff member also asked eagerly. Director Zhou, what exactly does the higher-ups mean? They called us yesterday and asked us to stop the show, but there has been no follow-up explanation so far. What should we do? Quote, could it be that the higher-ups really want us to make corrections? Quote, if Ai Chen is kicked out, our show will be almost over. Quote, Zhou Ping rubbed his temples helplessly, his heart full of distress. He himself couldn't figure out the intentions of his superiors. The other party's tone on the phone yesterday was not strong, and it was really difficult to judge what the other party's attitude towards Ai Chen was. But he knew in his heart that under such circumstances, the program crew would not dare to act rashly. At this moment, he was full of regret. He should not have invited those so-called experts to connect online. He was so arrogant that even he couldn't believe what he said, let alone convince Ai Chen. Now, the show might be ruined because of this incident. Just when everyone was at a loss, a staff member hurried in from outside and said breathlessly. Someone from the propaganda department called just now and said that the higher-ups haven't said anything to stop us from broadcasting. Quote, they also specifically reminded us to start the show earlier so that the online storm can be quelled as soon as possible. Quote, hearing this, the originally depressing meeting room was instantly filled with a joyful atmosphere. A spark of hope rekindled in Zhou Ping's eyes. But this joy did not last long, and he soon calmed down. After experiencing this incident, he knew that the next program could not be taken lightly and must be considered carefully to avoid such a big dispute from happening again. Don't be too happy yet, we need to think carefully about what to do next. Zhou Ping cleared his throat and said seriously. Everyone quieted down and looked at him. Afterwards, everyone sat together and started a heated discussion. Everyone contributed their ideas and worked out a new program plan, Parent-Child Shopping Fun. According to this plan, the program team will give a certain amount of money to several families participating in the program, and then let them go to Wanda Plaza for shopping and playing. In the process, some interesting tasks will be added. This type of program format can not only ease the originally tense atmosphere in the live broadcast room, but also soothe the audience's emotions, allowing everyone to watch the program in a relaxed and pleasant atmosphere. Moreover, this kind of lighthearted and entertaining program content should not cause dissatisfaction from the higher-ups. Soon. Time came to the next day. The program started in the morning as usual. Inside the studio, the host Xiao Sa appeared in front of the camera with a smile. The rest of the guests and observers have also taken their seats. This includes Wang Fang. She originally planned to stay at home to take care of her daughter, but when she heard the show had started, she immediately rushed over excitedly. Dear audience friends, good morning, I am the host Xiao Sa. Quote, today, before we start today's family observation, I would like to introduce the next program to you. Quote, the show, How to Raise Children, has just started airing. A large number of spectators flocked in. Many people find it difficult to get excited to see the show back on the air. Open black lens bracket, it's finally aired. I've been waiting for a whole day and night. Close black lens bracket. Hee, let those who say the program has been rectified take a look at this. Isn't the program good? Closing square bracket. That's right, the rumor has been refuted. It's only been one day since the show started, and there are so many conspiracy theories online. What kind of people are they? Closing square bracket. Wow, there is a new show, looking forward to it. Closing square bracket. Hee, everyone please ignore those clowns who spread rumors and just focus on watching our show. Closing square bracket. However, there are still quite a few violent comments in the live broadcast room. No, even if the show was aired, it would not matter. Maybe Ai Chen was kicked off the show overnight. Closing square bracket. That's right, I feel sick when I think of Ai Chen's face. What's so sad about this kind of person being banned? Closing square bracket. Didn't you hear? They've launched a new program. It's obvious that it was a temporary adjustment because Ai Chen withdrew. Closing square bracket. I hope those Ai Chen fans will stop deceiving themselves and go watch his game streams. But I have to say that his game streams may be blocked soon. Chapter 29. It's okay to cheat your buddies, but don't cheat yourself. The host Xiao Sa continued to introduce the program to the audience with a smile on his face. Welcome everyone to continue to follow our program. The name of the new program is Parent-Child Shopping. Quote, just by listening to the name, you should be able to guess that this is a program for parents to take their children shopping and playing. Quote, during the play, we have carefully prepared a variety of activities, such as the fun ring-tossing game, the movie-watching session that allows everyone to immerse themselves in it, and the exciting parent-child hide-and-seek game, etc. Quote, we chose the local Wanda Plaza as the venue for this event. There are not only a wide range of goods, but also a variety of entertainment facilities, which is very suitable for this event. Quote, Xiao Sa paused for a moment, deliberately keeping the audience in suspense, and then continued. Next, I would like to focus on the first part of the program, crying, laughing and shopping. Quote, in this segment, the program team will give each parent 500 yuan to take their children to the supermarket for shopping. Quote, however, there is a small request here. Parents cannot use the 500 yuan to buy things that their children want. Quote, the children are not aware of this rule. Quote, at the same time, parents should persuade their children in their own unique way and demonstrate their own educational philosophy in the process. Quote, finally, the audience will vote on the performance of the three parents in this segment, and the one with the highest number of votes will receive a prize of 20,000 yuan. Quote, in order to ensure the smooth running of the event, our program team has asked for a day off for the two participating parents, Zhang Yan and Wang Lei, and will compensate them with double their salary so that they can accompany their children to participate in the program with peace of mind. Quote, I think they should have received an invitation from the program team by now. Quote, as Xiao Sa spoke, he pointed in the direction of the big screen. Next, let's follow the camera and take a look at the wonderful content of this program and see what interesting sparks these parents and children will create. Quote, after hearing Xiao Sa say that he wanted leave for Zhang Yan and Wang Lei, those trolls were totally amused. Ai Chen's name is not included in this list. Doesn't this mean that Ai Chen did not participate in this program? At this time, the pictures appeared one by one on the big screen. In live broadcast room No. 1, Zhang Yan was riding an electric bike with Zihan to a shopping supermarket. In live broadcast room No. 2, Wang Lei had already driven the car to the downstairs of the shopping supermarket. Just when many people thought that live broadcast room number 3 would not light up. The picture suddenly appeared. A familiar big face came in front of the camera, occupying most of the screen. "Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again." Quote. I Chen greeted warmly. Then Kunkin also appeared in front of the camera, raised his little hand and waved. "Good morning, everyone." Quote. I Chen and Kun Kun appeared in the live broadcast room. The live broadcast room was completely boiling. Wow, I finally see I Chen again, great. I knew those people were spreading rumors. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, the rumor has been proven wrong, yeah. Closing square bracket. Damn, I was so scared. I just saw someone say that I Chen was not on the leave list, so he must not have come. I was shocked. It seems that I scared myself. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, you are so stupid. I Chen doesn't have to go to work, why would she ask for leave? Closing square bracket. No, wasn't he named by the higher-ups? Why is he still in the live broadcast room? Where are the officials? Where are the officials? Why don't they come out and take care of this? Closing square bracket. Get lost up there, you saw the official name being called out with your dog eyes, just fool your buddies but don't fool yourself. Closing square bracket. It feels so good. Yesterday I said I Chen would not be banned, and many people privately messaged me to scold me. This really slapped those people in the face. Closing square bracket. Studio. Wang Feng's face looked extremely ugly. She couldn't understand why she loved Chen. Why are you still in the live broadcast room? Live broadcast room number 3. I Chen patted the electric scooter and shouted to his son behind him. Kunkin, hurry up, it's time for us to set off. Quote. After putting the helmet on Kun Kun, I Chen then shouted towards the camera and to the audience in the live broadcast room. I say goodbye to everyone for now. Quote. Hearing this, the audience in the live broadcast room expressed their confusion. Isn't it still live streaming? Why do you have to say goodbye? Just when I was in doubt, I Chen rode his electric scooter and rushed out for a long distance. At this time, the brother who was filming coughed twice. Ahem, sorry everyone, I can't keep up with him. Quote. As soon as these words were spoken, the audience suddenly realized what was going on and laughed. This is live broadcast room number 1. Zihan sat obediently on the back seat of Zhang Yan's electric car. She asked curiously, Mom, where are we going? Quote. Zhang Yan was somewhat happy at this time and replied, go shopping at the supermarket. Quote. She was thinking in her mind. The 500 yuan given by the program team was really timely. Many daily necessities at home were running out, and these money came in handy. When Zihan heard that her mother was going to take her to the supermarket, her eyes suddenly lit up. As far as she can remember, her mother has never taken her to the supermarket. Moreover, the school is on holiday today. In previous holidays, she was always confined at home studying and reciting ancient poems. This time, she has the rare opportunity to come out for a walk. Her mind started to work hard. Was her mother going to buy her something? Zihan's little eyes were full of anticipation. However, this expectation was soon shattered. Zhang Yan suddenly spoke. Zihan, we are still some distance away from the supermarket. You can take this opportunity to memorize a few words. Quote. As she spoke, she took out a small English vocabulary book from her pocket. Zihan's expectant eyes suddenly dimmed, and a hint of reluctance flashed in his eyes. He was somewhat reluctant to take the vocabulary book from his mother's hand. I saw that my daughter didn't take the vocabulary book for a long time. Zhang Yan's tone became stern. Why are you still standing there? When you get home, you have to write down the words you remember for me, okay? Quote. Then she spoke earnestly. Zihan, our family is not as good as other families. We don't have the money to enroll you in cram school, so you have to make good use of your time and work harder than others so as not to be left behind by others. Quote. Mom asks you this for your own good. Quote. Hearing this, Zihan pursed her lips. The previous expectations have turned into disappointment. Following his mother's instructions, Zihan silently took the vocabulary book, buried his face and began to recite. Pencil, pencil, book, book, yellow, yellow, blue, blue. The voice was a little soft, and Zhang Yan could hardly hear her daughter's voice due to the sound of the wind in her ears. Her face instantly darkened and she spoke loudly in front. Zihan, didn't your teacher at school teach you that you should read the words out loud when you memorize them? This way you can better memorize them. Quote. Zihan shrank his neck in fear at Zhang Yan's sudden scolding. His voice was timid and weak. He wanted to open his mouth wide and raise his voice, but he just couldn't do it. Then she continued. Zihan, Mom hopes you can be more sensible and stop asking me to remind you all the time. Quote. Mom is already very tired from taking care of household affairs and your studies every day. Quote. Sitting in the back, you should be able to see that Mom has a lot of white hair, which is all because of worrying about your studies. Quote. Mom has worked so hard to raise you and pick you up from school every day, hoping that you can study hard. Quote. Do you know how much effort your father and I have put into you? You should be grateful. Quote. Of course, reading is not for us, but for yourself. If you are unwilling to memorize words now, there will be more things you are unwilling to do in the future. Quote. Look, you have a vocabulary book now. It's so convenient to study. We didn't even have books before. Not only that, we had to help with housework, herd cattle, and cut grass for pigs. We were not as lucky as you who only needed to study. Quote. Compared to the beginning, Zhang Yan's voice was not loud. She didn't want to blame Zihan either. She is usually quite obedient, but a little introverted. I like to keep some things in my heart and don't want to tell adults. So Zhang Yan needs to remind her from time to time. Zihan listened to his mother's words and lowered his head deeper and deeper. She felt a little sad. I don't know what's going on recently, but she is becoming more and more annoyed with what her mother says, and sometimes even has the idea of not wanting to study. But she used to be willing to listen to her mother, and she didn't want to be a disobedient child. Besides, her mother has given a lot to her, and if she doesn't obey, her mother will definitely be very sad. Her mind was filled with contradictions. His eyes fell on the vocabulary book in his hand and his eyes gradually turned red. Soon. She held the notebook and read aloud. At this time, Zhang Yan, who was sitting in the front, was satisfied when she heard Zihan reading. He didn't notice Zihan's current condition at all, or the faint crying tone in his reading. She didn't see it. However, the cameraman presented this scene in the live broadcast room. Chapter 30. I don't even know how to make up for the gun. What's the point of making up for the gun? Inside the studio, Wang Feng was originally wondering how Ai Chen could still appear in the live broadcast room. But when she saw Zhang Yan educating her child, she instantly put this question behind her. There was a gleam of admiration in his eyes. He couldn't wait to pick up the microphone and started praising Zhang Yan on the screen. Well, Zhang Yan's mother is very good at educating children. Quote. Wang Feng's voice sounded a little excited. Her love for her children really comes through in every word she says. Quote. It's a good way to educate children by telling them about their past experiences and letting them know how good the current learning conditions are. Quote. And they also thought of letting children make good use of fragmented time to learn. Even I have learned from this. Quote. Mother Zhang Yan has a good way to educate her children. This method is worth learning. Quote. She silently memorized this method. This method is just right for my daughter, a senior high school student with tight study schedule. At this time, Zhang Yu, an observer born in the 2000s who was sitting not far away, glanced at Wang Feng. His eyes turned cold. A good remedy. From my point of view, it will only make the child's illness worse. Quote. He cleared his throat and began to express his opinions one by one. First, isn't this exploiting children's time? Children don't even have a chance to relax and breathe. Their childhood is just about studying. Is this really healthy? Quote. Second, we always use our past experiences to demand the children of today. Times are different and the needs of children are also different. Forcing them to do so will only make them rebellious. Quote. Third, Zhang Yan seemed to be doing this for the good of the child, but in fact she was overly imposing her own anxiety and expectations on the child, without considering the child's inner feelings at all. Quote. Then, Zhang Yu faced the camera. I wonder if the audience still remembers that the last time Zhang Yan took Zihan to school on an electric bike, she educated Zihan in this way. Quote. That time Zihan was inside her raincoat and we couldn't see her expression clearly, but this time, we saw it clearly. Quote. The child is about to cry now. Do you think she wants to be educated like this? She is only 8 years old. Why should we demand her to race against time in her studies? Quote. After listening to her, Wang Feng snorted coldly and retorted. It's normal for children to cry when they are criticized by their parents. We should train children to be able to withstand pressure from an early age. Otherwise, when they enter society and encounter setbacks, they will be devastated. How can that be? Quote. When the two confronted each other, the audience in the live broadcast room also engaged in a heated discussion. Zhang Yu is so right. When I was a kid, I was forced to study by my parents, but the pressure I had was not even half of what Zihan had. You can imagine how miserable she is. She has no freedom at all. It makes me want to cry. I really don't want her to go through this. Closing square bracket. Support Wang Feng. Children need to develop the ability to withstand stress, otherwise how can they face the cruelty of society in the future? Being strict now is for their own good. Closing square bracket. Alas, young people nowadays are still too happy. They make such a fuss just because their mother scolds their child and makes him cry. Have you never suffered? Closing square bracket. Zhang Yan's way of education is really not good. My aunt's child was educated like this all the time. She told him to look at other people's children. She said that the child was born in a blessed environment but didn't know how to appreciate it. He was diagnosed with depression when he just entered high school. Closing square bracket. Zhang Yan's behavior is not education at all. She is clearly treating her children as learning machines. Children should not be raised this way. They should be given space. Closing square bracket. Ahem, to put it bluntly, I really don't feel like I owe anything to my parents. Did they give birth to me just to pua me and control me? Compared with the quarrels in Zhang Yan's live broadcast room, the atmosphere in Ai Chen's live broadcast room was quite cheerful. The guy who was following the video sat in his colleague's car and followed Ai Chen all the way. But I didn't even see Ai Chen's taillights. It was not until he was almost at the shopping mall in Wanda Plaza that he saw Ai Chen and Kun Kun. Shopping supermarket downstairs. Ai Chen waved the brand new 500 yuan bill in his hand towards Kun Kun. He didn't want to show it to his son, but the program team required it. When he saw the banknotes, Kun Kun's eyes lit up instantly. Say it loudly. Dad, should we go buy a lot of delicious snacks? Quote. I want to eat spicy noodles, the super spicy kind. Quote. Ai Chen glared at him unhappily. Why are you buying spicy noodles? Listen to your voice, what has it become? Quote. But the program team said that the 500 yuan cannot buy what the children want. So, Ai Chen rejected Kun Kun without even thinking about it. Normally he wouldn't stop Kun Kun from eating spicy strips, but today he definitely wouldn't allow that. Kun Kun muttered, his face full of grievance. But the godfathers in the live studio all said that my voice is superb. Quote. Ai Chen. What they mean is that you are a top-grade school student. Quote. Regardless of whether Kun Kun understood or not, Ai Chen turned around and prepared to enter the supermarket. Kun Kun grabbed him and said again after rolling his eyes. If you don't want to buy spicy noodles, buy some test papers or exercise books. Quote. Buy more. The teacher didn't assign any homework during the 2-day holiday. Quote. As soon as these words were spoken, people who were originally walking hurriedly around looked at them sideways. An old lady couldn't help but sigh in a low voice. Hey, this kid is a good student. He came out to buy test papers instead of toys. Quote. Look at his father, he is so gentle and cultured. You can tell at a glance that he is a man of culture. Quote. See this scene. The audience in the live broadcast room all laughed. Ai Chen pulled Kun Kun over and said sternly. You little brat, this is a supermarket, not a bookstore. There are no test papers there. Quote. Then he took Kun Kun to the supermarket inside Wanda Plaza. Just about to take the elevator. A car stopped on the roadside behind me. More than a dozen children of about Kun Kun's age got off the bus. They were all wearing uniform clothes and the car they were riding in had a few big words printed on it. Mental Arithmetic Advanced Class. Kun Kun looked up curiously and asked Ai Chen. Dad, are they wearing school uniforms? Quote. Suddenly, he saw a familiar figure in the crowd. Hey, isn't this Zhang Zihao from our class? Quote. Dad, are they in school? Quote. I Chen shrugged. I don't know either. Quote. At this time, the brother who was filming nearby started to explain. This is a famous extracurricular interest class in our city, which is specially designed to cultivate children's mental arithmetic ability. Quote. Their teacher is an internationally renowned master of mental arithmetic and memory. I heard he even won a Guinness World Record. Quote. I Chen glanced at it indifferently, too lazy to pay attention. In the past life, there were many training courses on mental abacus, memory enhancement, and various other subjects. Although he didn't quite understand it, he felt that there was no need for his child to attend such classes. Nowadays, childhood should be spent playing happily. Learning these things cannot determine a child's whole life. And how much can children learn? Many tutoring classes and interest classes simply cater to parents' anxieties. At this time, Kun pulled the corner of I Chen's clothes. Dad, please sign me up for a cram school. Quote. I Chen naturally knew that this guy just wanted to avoid practicing shooting. You don't even know how to last hit, so why do you want to last hit? When you can beat me in a one-on-one fight, I will repay you. Quote. Kunkin pursed his lips. When the audience in the live broadcast room heard I Chen's words, they laughed like crazy again. Ha ha ha, there are no distractions in Kunkin's eyes, only the desire to learn. Closing square bracket. Ha 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 ha, the golden sentence appears again. If you can't even make up a gun, what are you making up for? Closing square bracket. Hey, I Chen, don't refuse. Just send Kun to the esports class. Closing square bracket. What a reverse education. Whose family of origin is this? Closing square bracket. After a while, the father and son entered the supermarket. The dazzling array of goods in the supermarket is dizzying. Seeing the various snacks on the shelves, Kun had already forgotten about the cram school he had just attended. However, although he wanted to buy this and that, his father I Chen always threatened Kun by saying, if you buy them, you have to go home and practice shooting with him, so Kun had no choice but to obey I Chen. At this time, the guy who was filming nearby reminded I Chen. You are threatening the child like this and it is very likely that your final score will be low. You should try another approach. Quote. I Chen thought for a moment after hearing this and felt that what the photographer said made sense. A light bulb went off in my head and I had an idea. On the other side of the supermarket. Toy area. Wang Zixuan couldn't walk when he saw a toy gun and insisted that Wang Lei buy it for him. Wang Lei naturally wouldn't spoil him. Whether it is due to the rules of the program team or in normal times. In this way, the father and son remained in a stalemate for more than 10 minutes. Wang Lei, who was really losing his patience, squatted down and looked at Wang Zixuan straight in the eye. Son, I've already bought you a lot of toy guns. I can't buy you any more. It's a waste of money. Quote. But you threw away those toy guns a long time ago. Quote. Wang Zixuan said, puffing his cheeks. Seeing that Wang Zixuan was unmoved, Wang Lei continued. Be good, Dad knows you like this gun, but we came to the supermarket today to buy daily necessities, not toys. Dad will bring you here to buy it next time, okay? Quote. Son, you have grown up. You need to learn to be sensible. You can't just get what you want right away. We need to be reasonable. Quote. Wang Zixuan would never listen to this. Dad often gets angry and goes back on his promises when he makes mistakes. So he wanted the other party to agree to him immediately. Wang Zixuan collapsed to the ground and started to act like a spoiled brat, crying and shouting. I don't care, I want this gun, and I want it now. Quote. His movements attracted the attention of many passers-by, and everyone gave him strange looks. Seeing his son like this, Wang Lei got furious. He suppressed his anger. Wait here for a while, I'll buy it for you later. Quote. Hearing this, Wang Zixuan stopped shouting immediately. Not long. Wang Lei came back. Wang Zixuan couldn't hide his excitement and sat up from the ground. It wasn't until he noticed the brand new belt in Wang Lei's hand that the smile froze on his face. It turned out that Wang Lei had just gone to buy a belt. Seeing this, the audience in the live broadcast room burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, I thought Wang Lei was doing something else, but it turns out he went to buy a belt. Great, it suits my taste. Closing square bracket. I hate it when kids act up and mess around on the street. They always use this to threaten me to buy things for them. Closing square bracket. However, Wang Zixuan is indeed a bit pitiful. There is not a single toy at home. Wang Lei should reflect on his own educational methods. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, crying and laughing shopping, it really lives up to its name. The one crying is Wang Zixuan, who is laughing. Chapter 31. Your starting point is good, but don't start yet. Zhang Yan is here. At this time, she was already shopping in the supermarket. Earlier on the road, while she was educating Zihan, she had already thought about what she wanted to buy in her mind. Soon, she bought a lot of things. I saw her carrying a heavy shopping bag in one hand, which was filled with laundry detergent, toothpaste, dishwashing liquid and other daily necessities. The other hand holds his daughter Zihan. Zihan is like a silent kitten, following his mother quietly. But her eyes would occasionally glance at the snack section on the shelf. As he passed by, Zihan's pace slowed down unconsciously. But she didn't stop. She seldom eats snacks at home because her mother always says they are junk food and are not good for the body. The last time I bought a cup of milk tea for my mother, she has been talking about it for several days. Zhang Yan, who was walking in front, noticed the changes in her daughter. I looked at the snacks on the shelf nearby. He frowned slightly and said, Zihan, don't think about those snacks. If you eat them, you won't be able to eat. Quote, your child is growing now, so he should eat more healthy meals. Quote, you don't know, when mom was a child, she couldn't even get enough to eat. Quote, we should spend our money wisely. Quote, Zihan listened to her mother's words, her eyelashes fluttered a few times, she nodded slightly, and withdrew her gaze. Purchased daily necessities. Zhang Yan looked at the 100 yuan left in her hand and felt a little distressed. Well, I've bought everything I need. What else should I buy? Quote, at this moment, Zihan's attention was attracted by a box of brightly colored watercolor pens in the stationery area not far away. Her feet involuntarily moved towards the watercolor pen. After looking at Zhang Yan, Zihan hesitated for a long time before carefully tugging at the corner of his mother's clothes and asked timidly. Mom, can you buy me that box of watercolor pencils? Quote, Zhang Yan frowned, followed his gaze to the box of watercolor pens, then looked down at Zihan. I feel a little helpless. I just taught my daughter to spend money wisely. Unexpectedly, she didn't listen at all. She was somewhat impatient. I couldn't help but wonder if I was too gentle with my children. Thought for a moment. She did not refuse immediately, but took Zihan to the stationery store owner and asked. Boss, how much is this box of watercolor pens? Quote, the boss smiled and replied, 30 yuan. Quote, Zhang Yan turned and looked at Zihan. 30 bucks, do you really want it? Quote, Zihan hesitated for a moment and nodded. Last week in art class, the teacher assigned an assignment to draw a family portrait. She really hopes to use this box of beautiful watercolor pens to make her family's paintings more vivid and warmer. Zhang Yan deliberately put on a stern face and handed the 100 yuan in her hand to Zihan. Zihan was stunned at first, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes, and just when he was about to reach out to take it, he heard Zhang Yan say coldly. Here, take this $100 and spend it all. Quote, Zihan's hand stopped in midair, his eyes dull. Zhang Yan didn't care at all about the strange looks from the people around her. She raised her voice by several decibels and started to scold loudly. Zihan, do you know? Mom works so hard for 10 hours a day that her voice is almost hoarse and her waist is almost broken, just to earn this 100 yuan. Quote, just do the math yourself. How long does it take for mom to be able to afford this box of watercolor pencils? Money doesn't come from the wind. It's hard to earn it. Quote, Zihan's eyes gradually dimmed. Feeling the gazes of the bosses and customers around her, she buried her little face in her chest. She feels very uncomfortable. But Zhang Yan's education continued, talking incessantly. Mom always tells you to be frugal, and she's not kidding. Quote, we should try not to buy unnecessary things. Mom and dad live frugally and don't even want to buy you a new piece of clothing. They let you eat and dress well so that you can study well and have a good future. Quote, as for studying, as long as it helps your grades, mom will try her best to satisfy you. But this watercolor pen can't help you improve your grades, so why did you buy it? Tell me, isn't that the truth? Quote. This scene naturally caught the eyes of the audience in the live broadcast room. No way, isn't it just a box of watercolor pens? Is it necessary to make such a big deal out of this? Closing square bracket. Isn't this just like my parents? No matter what I ask them to buy, the first thing they say is how hard it is for them to earn money. Closing square bracket. From personal experience, expressing your thoughts to your parents can turn your good mood into bad mood, and your bad mood into worse mood. Closing square bracket. Alas, poor insensible child, he didn't even ask for snacks, he just wanted a box of watercolor pens. Even if the program team has the rules that you can't buy it for your child, there is no need to choose this kind of education, right? It's better to do what Wang Lei's father next door said, bring your child here to buy it next time. Closing square bracket. Hey, you guys are really talking nonsense. Zhang Yan just taught her children not to spend money recklessly. What's wrong with her? According to what you said, if we buy the children whatever they want, won't it make them develop the habit of spending money lavishly? Closing square bracket. I agree with the above comments. Satisfying children will only make them keep asking for more. If it were me, I would just turn around and leave. I wouldn't even bother explaining anything to my children. Closing square bracket. If you haven't been in charge of a household, you don't know how expensive oil and salt are. I wonder if some of the comments are still from children. Closing square bracket. When the barrage of comments is arguing endlessly. Zhang Yan finished her accusatory words. His stern face returned to its usual gentleness. Come on, Zihan, go buy some practical things with mom. Quote. After saying that, he was ready to reach out and pull Zihan. She bit her lips tightly, trying to suppress her grievance. He stuffed the 100 yuan back into Zhang Yan's hands. He slightly tilted his body to avoid the hand his mother extended to him, and did not choose to let her hold his hand. Zhang Yan was thinking about what else to buy. I didn't pay much attention to my daughter's little act of resistance. At this moment, the stationery store owner, who had been watching this scene silently, couldn't help it anymore. He looked at Zihan's pitiful and lost appearance and shouted at Zhang Yan. Oh, big sister, it's just a box of watercolor pens. Quote. This child is very sensible. It's rare that she likes something. Just buy it for her. Quote. In this way, I won't make any money from you, and I'll give you a discount of $10, okay? Quote. As he said that, the boss picked up the box of watercolor pens and stuffed it directly into Zihan's hand. Seeing this, Zhang Yan shook her head helplessly and said to the boss. The child is still so young, we can't spoil her in everything. If we let her buy things as she pleases now, she will develop a habit of spending money recklessly in the future. Quote. I'm doing this for her own good. I want her to know that money doesn't come easy. Quote. After saying that, Zhang Yan turned around and touched Zihan's head. Be obedient, Zihan. Mommy hopes you can be more sensible and put the watercolor pen back. Quote. How about if you can get 100 points on the final exam, mom will reward you. Quote. Zihan gripped the box of watercolor pens tightly, his knuckles turning white from the force. She couldn't understand why her mother told her not to spoil her. As far as I can remember, she rarely asked her mother for anything. But this time, her mother had clearly already bought all the daily necessities she needed, but she was still unwilling to buy them for her. This time, she simply hoped to use this box of watercolor pencils to make the family portrait more beautiful and colorful. His lips trembled constantly. Finally, I couldn't hold it back anymore and broke down on the ground crying. She originally thought that her mother would buy something for her when she brought her to the supermarket. But I have to memorize words while sitting on an electric car. I wanted a box of watercolor pens, but my mother said I was ignorant. She couldn't figure it out. Zhang Yan was surprised by Zihan's crying. My daughter rarely cries, what happened? The crying sound reached the live broadcast room, and many viewers felt very distressed. I know your intention is good, but don't start yet. I really couldn't stand it anymore. I wanted to rush into the screen and hug Zihan in my arms. The boss was already cheap, but Zhang Yan was still unwilling. I saw Zihan's look, so I had to buy it for her even if it violated the rules. Closing square bracket. A child who has always been sensible, as long as you disobey once, your parents will start to accuse you of being immature. It is really suffocating. Closing square bracket. What a funny and crying shopping show. The program team is really good at designing. 2 children have already been made to cry. Closing square bracket. What else do those who refute this have to say? Zihan is such a good kid, but he had an emotional breakdown. Zhang Yan is simply a master of pua. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket. Won't it make children feel inferior if you keep complaining to them? Close black lens bracket. The words, "Mom hopes you can be more sensible," and "It's all for your own good," became the last straw that broke the camel's back for Zihan. The comments in the live broadcast room were almost one-sided. After all, Zihan's sensibleness is obvious to everyone, but Wang Feng, the observer in the live broadcast room, cast a look of approval and appreciation at Zhang Yan on the screen. There is a lot of meaning behind Zhang Yan's series of actions. Chapter 32 Oreo becomes black toothpaste. Kun Kun downloads anti-fraud app overnight. Wang Feng stood up and spoke slowly. It seems that no one really understands what Zhang Yan's mother did. You have misunderstood her. Quote, on the surface, it looked like she had hurt the child, but that was not the case. Quote, she paused deliberately to let everyone's attention be focused on her. Have you noticed that Zhang Yan's mother's attitude today is a little different from before? She has become a little more severe. Quote, do you know why? Quote, because Zhang Yan's mother is very attentive, she noticed the changes in her child. Quote, just now in the car, Zihan showed a slight resistance and didn't want to memorize the words. Quote, when it came time to buy watercolor pencils, this resistance was fully revealed. Quote, you know, this is probably a sign of a child's rebelliousness. If Zhang Yan's mother continues to treat Zihan gently as usual, she will not be able to suppress the child's rebellious psychology at all. Quote, on the contrary, at this time, parents cannot compromise and must use a tough attitude to nip their children's rebellious psychology in the bud. Quote, first, we need to stop children from thinking that their parents will compromise, otherwise they will pester us in the same way next time. Quote, secondly, we must cut off the child's external support and not let the child take chances. If the parents don't compromise, they can go to their grandparents, just like the stationery store owner in the live broadcast. Quote, Mother Zhang Yan has achieved both of these points, which is really rare. Quote, although this may seem a bit cruel to everyone, the effect is immediate. Quote, children are forgetful. They will be fine after crying and making a fuss for a while. Quote, parents should not worry too much about their children's current emotions, but should worry about whether their children have listened to the truth. Quote, so Zhang Yan's mother always tells her children to remember their family's conditions and how hard it is to make money. Quote, my child, if you tell her your troubles more often, she will remember them for the rest of her life, and this will become her motivation for future struggles. Quote, so, Zhang Yan's mother really has good intentions. Quote, after these words, many people just felt that they had suddenly realized their mistake. Many people did not notice Zhang Yan's change of attitude and Zihan's rebellious mood. That's true. Zihan's condition today is indeed a little different. Girls tend to mature earlier, so maybe the child has really reached the stage of rebellion. There is a saying that a loving mother often spoils her child. If Zhang Yan's mother compromised today, then the child will have the impression that you are not a parent who has the final say, and this may make the child develop a mentality of taking chances. Saying that she is ignorant and giving the child a warning is a very effective way of exerting pressure. Observer Wang Feng understands me. The child's crying means that the parent's words have worked. Otherwise, if you tell her lightly, she will just fall on deaf ears. Closing square bracket. No, have we all been fooled? A little girl who is usually well-behaved and sensible, you say she has reached her rebellious stage. Is this world crazy? Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, people really laugh when they are extremely speechless. Killing the rebellious and playful spirit of children. I think it is killing the children. Closing square bracket. Ha ha, when a child is isolated and helpless, that's when she seeks relief. Closing square bracket. Complaining will not become a motivation for children, but will only become the source of their pain. Closing square bracket. It's so suffocating. Zhang Yan's love for Zihan is like a soaked cotton jacket. It's cold when you put it on, and it's also cold when you take it off. Closing square bracket. I don't understand. What good is it to make children feel guilty, ashamed, and inferior? Closing square bracket. Where is Ai Chen? Where did Ai Chen go? If Ai Chen hadn't suddenly disappeared, I wouldn't have come to this live broadcast room. Closing square bracket. After Wang Feng's detailed analysis, a small number of people expressed their full agreement. But most people scoffed at it. They felt very distressed when they saw Zihan's emotional breakdown. The other side. For some unknown reason, Ai Chen suddenly took Kun Kun and hurried out of the supermarket. Afterwards, he actually left Kun Kun and the big brother who was following him behind and disappeared in the blink of an eye. "Dad, where are you?" Quote. Kun Kun shouted loudly, fearing that Ai Chen would get lost. After all, it was the first time for both of them to come to this place. Although the uncle who was filming them knew the way, the father was not familiar with it. "Your father is here." Quote. Only Ai Chen's voice was heard. He walked through the crowd and appeared in front of Kun Kun with great confidence. Before Kun Kun opened his mouth to ask, Ai Chen showed a mysterious smile on his face and said in a rather heroic manner, "Come on, son, let's go in and continue shopping. Whatever you want today, your dad will buy it for you without blinking an eye." Quote. Upon hearing this, Kunkin cheered excitedly. "Okay, let's go buy some delicious food." Quote. Soon, the two walked into the supermarket again. Kunkin took Ai Chen's hand and ran straight to the snack area impatiently. At this moment, the audience in the live broadcast room and the brother who was following him were looking at such a generous Ai Chen and felt suspicious. Didn't the program crew have a rule that prohibits buying things that children want? What on earth is Ai Chen singing about? Kunkin happily came to a potato chip shelf. My eyes were instantly attracted by a row of blue packaged potato chips. The shelf was quite high, and he had to stand on tiptoe and stretch out his hand to barely reach the bottom layer. Kun Kun pointed, then raised his little face and looked at Ai Chen eagerly. "Dad, I want this." Quote. Ai Chen's face was full of smiles and he agreed immediately. "Okay, Dad will get it for you right away." Quote. As he spoke, he reached out and picked up a bag without hesitation, and threw it into the shopping basket in his hand. Then he waved his hand and said proudly, "Son, what else do you want? You can pick anything you want in this area." Quote. Kun Kun didn't notice Ai Chen's abnormal behavior today at all, and kept shouting with excitement. "Dad, you are so cool." Quote. After saying that, he pulled Ai Chen to the next place with great interest. At this moment, the audience in the live broadcast room were still confused. "No, I bought it for my child right now. Doesn't Ai Chen want to take the 2,000 yuan bonus?" Closing square bracket. There must be something wrong when things are out of the ordinary. Ai Chen doesn't want Kun Kun to pay the bill himself later, right? Closing square bracket. Hiss, why does the bag of potato chips Ai Chen holds seem weird? I remember now, the words on it seem to be a little wrong. Closing square bracket. There is something wrong, but the action was too fast and I couldn't see it clearly. Closing square bracket. PFF'd, I can't hold it in any longer. Damn, Ai Chen is holding a pack of blue Diao Pai laundry detergent. Ha 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 fuck. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, close black lens bracket. Kunkin took Ai Chen to the place full of candies again. Pointed to a row of red-wrapped candies on the shelf. "Dad, get me a bag of Skittles." Quote. "One pack is not enough, Dad will give you 2 packs." Quote. Ai Chen waved his hand and directly took 2 bags and threw them into the basket. Kun Kun was very happy to see this. "Thank you, Dad." Quote. Ai Chen smiled kindly. "You're welcome, son." Quote. Ai Chen tried the same trick again, and seeing that his son still didn't notice, he almost couldn't help but burst into laughter, this time. The audience in the live broadcast room saw it clearly. Open black lens bracket. What Ai Chen took out were not rainbow candies, but 2 bags of Wuzhong pickled mustard tuber. Close black lens bracket. Ha 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 ha, I just realized, 36 stratagems, which one is Ai Chen using? Closing square bracket. Okay, let's play it this way, right? I was wondering where I Chen was going, it turns out he was setting up the scene in advance. Closing square bracket. Ha 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 ha, I laughed so hard that my stomach hurt. Poor Kun Kun still didn't realize I Chen's evil plan. Closing square bracket. After returning home and finding that his snacks were gone, Kun Kun downloaded an anti-fraud app overnight. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, I can't imagine how careful Kun Kun will be when doing his homework in the future. Closing square bracket. When I Chen gets old, Kun Kun will replace his oxygen tank with a gas tank and he will be obedient. Closing square bracket. After a while, Kun Kun pointed at the boxes of Oreos on the shelf again. Said, "Dad, I want this too." Quote, "Okay." Quote, I Chen was quick to pick up 2 boxes of black toothpaste from the shelf and stuff them into the basket. But this time, Kun Kun found that something seemed wrong. He scratched his head and asked with some confusion, "Hey, Dad, why does the box of Oreos you just took seem a little small?" Quote, however, as soon as he said this, he looked up and found that I Chen had already gone somewhere else. Kun Kun blinked, turned his head in confusion and looked at the brother who was following him and asked, "Uncle, was that an Oreo cookie my dad just took?" Chapter 33 Kun Kun has walked the longest road, which is I Chen's routine. The brother who was filming the video, who was originally laughing secretly, froze his smile instantly when he heard this question. Quickly put on a serious face. But for a moment I didn't know how to answer. He looked down at Kun Kun, then raised his eyes to look at I Chen not far away. Oreo. Is it, or isn't it? Quote, I'm afraid the longest road that Kun Kun has walked is I Chen's routine. Faced with his sincere inquiry, the brother who was filming him couldn't bear to lie to him. But he knew in his heart that if he exposed I Chen at this moment, given I Chen's personality, he might have other plans waiting for Kun Kun. At this time, I Chen heard the words of the brother who was following him and looked over slowly. He was not panicked at all. Even if he was exposed, what would it matter? He has plenty of energy and means to fool Kun Kun. He also lets his child see the dangers of society in advance, but he has a unique fatherly love for Kun Kun. I Chen said to the guy who was following her without blushing or getting nervous. Why are you looking at me? You are holding such a big camera, don't you know it? Quote, follow the big brother. Quote, well, he is just an emotionless camera. And he really couldn't interfere with the interaction between father and son. So he said to Kun Kun, it's Oreo. My uncle and the audience in the live broadcast room can see it clearly. Quote, there was sympathy in his eyes. My child, between long pain and short pain, uncle will let you suffer severe pain. Thank you, uncle. My dad always lies to me. I believe you won't lie to me. I'll share the snacks with you later. Quote, hearing this, the guy who was filming the video felt as if his heart was being torn apart. He deserves to die. What a good child. I even share my favorite snacks with him. Ahem, uncle doesn't like snacks. Quote, if uncle cheated you, I will compensate you, with 2 bags of spicy noodles. Quote, I Chen waved towards Kun Kun. Don't you want to eat spicy noodles? Come on, dad will take you to buy some. Quote, after hearing this, Kun Kun hurriedly trotted after him. Looking at Kun Kun's small back, the brother who was filming him breathed a sigh of relief. If he said a few more words to Kun Kun, he might slap himself. He felt heavy inside, but the audience in the live broadcast room took off with joy. Especially when seeing the brother who was filming the video with a guilty look on his face, the comments were so funny that they were rolling on the floor. Wow, Kun Kun is so pitiful, but I'm sorry, I really can't hold back my laughter, ha 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 ha. I'm so heartless. Closing square bracket. Ha 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 ha, kid, don't believe him, go check the basket yourself to see what's in it. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket follow-up brother. I Chen, am I also a part of your education? That's interesting. Close black lens bracket. I am so tired from laughing. The guy the first was following sat up in shock from his dying illness and slapped himself in the middle of the night. I really need to wash myself. Ha ha ha. Closing square bracket. I Chen is so mean, ha ha ha, next time I get sick, the doctor will say, it's just a slight fever. Kun Kun, do I need to be taken to the hospital for fever right away? Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, when the child goes out into society, he finds that without his father's protection, there are only good people around. Closing square bracket. Crying and laughing while shopping, the only people laughing right now are I-Chen and Kun haha. There is a response to everything, but nothing is resolved. I-Chen is really smart. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, isn't I-Chen afraid that Kun will find out and the family relationship will be broken? Closing square bracket. It has already broken, ha ha ha. During the last live broadcast, Kun owed his friends 10,000 or 20,000 minutes of oxygen tube removal time, dog head. I learned this. Now I have to vote. Closing square bracket. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 62,000 reputation points. Current reputation value is 111,314. Closing square bracket. Ding. Congratulations to the host for unlocking the trial achievement. The 200,000 bonus has been paid to your bank account. Closing square bracket. Tip. The first stage achievement has been achieved. The host can upgrade the system. The required reputation value for the upgrade is 100,000. Closing square bracket. After the upgrade is completed, the ordinary lottery will be upgraded to an advanced lottery. The advanced lottery includes advanced survival skills, points added to various physical qualities, advanced education skills. Closing square bracket. Does the host upgrade? Closing square bracket. Hear the system prompt. I-Chen was somewhat delighted. Sure enough, after unlocking the achievement, new functions will appear in the system. Quote. Advanced lottery. It seems worthwhile to upgrade it with reputation points. Quote. The skills obtained from the previous draws were more or less useful, but they were not particularly powerful. Moreover, I-Chen was very excited when he saw the advanced educational skills in the introduction. If he could win it, it would definitely be of great help to him in promoting his own educational philosophy. System upgrade. Quote. I-Chen whispered to himself while taking Kun shopping. After buying snacks for Kun, he also bought some fruits, vegetables and meat. The father and son left the supermarket carrying large and small bags. Zhang Yan and Wang Lei also finished their purchases. Under the arrangement of the program team, the three families met in an open space. The three children were from the same class and were familiar with each other, so the introduction session was omitted. Kun's face was full of smiles and he was very excited. But Zihan and Wang Zixuan had tears on their faces. As a girl, Zihan was thin-skinned. She buried her face deeply and tried to shrink into the corner. But Zhang Yan held his hand tightly. Seeing their appearance, Kun tugged at I-Chen's clothes in confusion and asked, "Dad, why are they all crying?" Quote. I-Chen laughed dryly. Maybe there are too many people outside and they are timid and scared. Quote. Hearing this, although Kun was confused, he couldn't help but straighten his chest. It seemed to be saying that he was not afraid at all. I-Chen was thinking, when my son finds out he's been tricked, he won't cry too, will he? Quote. Probably not. I have been training him to be able to withstand stress a lot during this period. Quote. The three families gathered together, and the live broadcast screen merged from 3 into 1. At this time, a staff member came out with a smile on his face and spoke kindly to the camera. Dear viewers, I believe you have all seen in the previous footage that all three parents have successfully completed their tasks. Quote. None of them used the 500 yuan provided by the program team to buy the items the children wanted. Quote. The three parents each adopted different methods. Some relied on patient persuasion, some relied on stern admonitions, and some, relied on extraordinary wisdom. Quote. The staff member paused noticeably when he said this. Then, everyone can start grading. Quote. As soon as he finished speaking, Kun behind him suddenly spoke loudly. That's not right, sister. My dad bought it for me. Quote. In an instant, everyone's eyes were focused on Kun. The staff looked at Kun with a hint of pity in their eyes. Look at this poor kid, still in the dark. Then she looked at I-Chen again. I-Chen seemed to be a little guilty and quietly moved to the side. Well, Kun, this, your father. Quote. The staff didn't know how to explain it. She hasn't finished speaking yet. Kun turned around and started rummaging through the shopping basket at I-Chen's feet. The little face that was originally full of doubt was quickly replaced by shock. Where are my potato chips? Where are my Skittles, and my Oreo cookies? Quote. Kun shouted at the top of his voice. Isn't this the Wylong spicy strips I just picked? How did it turn into a bag of tomato sauce? Quote. Then he suddenly raised his head, looked at I-Chen and questioned. Dad, did you take the wrong one? Quote. I-Chen's eyes wandered and he touched his nose. In an instant, Kunkin seemed to realize something, and his little eyes were filled with disbelief. Dad, you tricked me again. Quote. Inside the studio, Wang Feng suddenly stood up, her face full of anger. I-Chen's education is a complete failure. Quote. Wang Feng's voice was sharp and loud. He is totally deceiving the children. Quote. If you use this method to deceive children now, they will follow suit and deceive others in the future. Quote. Have you ever thought about how much of an impact this will have on a child's character? Quote. Children are in the process of forming their values. How can we help them develop correct moral values if we keep cheating them? Quote. Wang Feng became more and more excited as she spoke. Compared to the harsh reprimand from Wang Lei's father, I think I-Chen's approach is more terrifying. Quote. Have you ever thought about how the child feels? When Kun found out that he was deceived by his most trusted father, he must have been devastated. Quote. She turned back to the camera and continued. I implore everyone, please do not vote for him. We cannot allow this kind of behavior of deceiving children to be accepted. We must set the right example for our children. Chapter 34, Which child doesn't want snacks but wants test papers? Just when Wang Feng was calling on everyone not to vote for I-Chen. In the live broadcast screen, Kun had been staring at I-Chen for quite a while. But soon, he took a deep breath. Yu spoke. Dad, you are really my dad. Quote. After saying that, he squatted down and silently put away the basket that he had messed up. Looking at the small figure on the ground, the staff member couldn't help but be touched. She was deeply surprised by Kun's performance. After finding out that he was cheated, he didn't make a scene or blame I-Chen, but chose to accept it. How could an 8-year-old child be so emotionally stable? Or is he actually sad in silence? The staff couldn't help but step forward and ask. Kunkin, you were deceived by your father, don't you feel wronged? Quote. Do you need me to cry before you can see it? Quote. Staff. Kun's rhetorical question made her a little confused and she hadn't reacted yet. Kun said with relief as he packed up. It's no use complaining. Who told your production team to arrange it this way? Quote. And I'm used to dad's pits. Quote. Alas, my family is poor and I only have one living father. I can only be forced to be sensible. Quote. Then he stood up and looked at I-Chen. He blinked his eyes and looked understanding. Dad, this time it was the production team who did this. I don't blame you, but I have a small request, and I don't know if I should say it or not. Quote. I-Chen looked at Kun in confusion. Something is wrong. Why is this kid suddenly so obedient? Normally, he would not let it go so quickly after being tricked by me. He wanted to see what this kid was up to. What is your request? Tell me and let's see. Quote. Kun forced out a slightly flattering smile. Hey, Dad, since I didn't buy the spicy noodles, why don't you take me to the bookstore to buy some test papers later? Quote. I have to satisfy one of these two. Quote. If I didn't buy the spicy strips, I have to buy the test paper. Writing a test paper can avoid playing 2 games with my dad, which is more refreshing than eating spicy noodles. Kun was secretly proud of his own cleverness. I behaved so obediently and sensibly in front of so many people, my dad would definitely feel embarrassed to refuse me. I-Chen was stunned for a moment. Then he suddenly realized what had happened and his face fell. Okay, I was wondering why this brat was acting so abnormal, turns out this is what he was planning. He said unhappily. You little brat, you were talking about buying test papers when you entered the supermarket earlier. It seems that you still have the thief in mind. Quote. I-Chen paused deliberately for a moment. Whose child doesn't want snacks but wants test papers? Quote. Luckily your father has a backup plan. Quote. The words fell. I-Chen took out a bag of spicy strips from his pocket and quickly stuffed it into Kun's hand. Nuo, I didn't want to give it to you, but since you insisted that dad choose between the two, I'll reluctantly satisfy you. Now don't worry about writing any test papers for me. Quote, just wait for Dad in the game tonight. Quote, Chen rubbed his hands together and looked at the confused Kun proudly. Everyone present, including the audience in the live broadcast room. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw this scene. Wait a minute, are these father and son going to act out this? In the studio, Wang Feng saw Chen take out spicy strips and hand them to Kun, and she immediately jumped up from her seat with excitement. Chen committed a foul. Quote, his son wanted spicy noodles, so he bought them. Quote, Chen falling over was exactly the scene she loved to see. In the picture, the staff also spoke slowly. Kun's father, you are breaking the rules. Quote, Chen raised the corners of his mouth slightly and spoke slowly. Really? The rules only say that you can't use the 500 yuan to buy what the child wants, but I used my own money to buy this bag of spicy noodles, so this shouldn't be a violation, right? Quote, staff. Quote, as soon as this sentence came out, the barrage in the live broadcast room was completely boiling. 666,666, Chen's operation was really great, no foul, no fault at all. Closing square bracket. Ha Jichen, you not only deceived Kun, but also fooled everyone else. Then I have to vote for you. Closing square bracket. Ha 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 ha, there is absolutely nothing wrong with this. Look, observer Wang Feng's face has turned green. Closing square bracket. Show me, I have nothing to say now. Kun won't be sad at all, he will just feel that he can't beat his dad after all, ha ha ha. Closing square bracket. It's so funny, the acting skills of this father and son are better than each other, but Chen is the better one after all. Kun's dream of doing the test paper is ruined again. Closing square bracket. Kun's request is too much. If you dare to do the test now, you will dare to do research in the future. Closing square bracket. Not a buddy. How can you let the other two parents have fun? After all this time, you can still spend your own money, ha ha ha. Closing square bracket. The director who was watching the show backstage was numb. There's really nothing in the rules that says you can't spend your own money. Looking at Chen in the picture, he couldn't help but say something in his heart. I am convinced. I am really convinced. He gave an instruction to the staff around him. Afterwards, Xiao Sa in the studio and the staff at the program recording site received instructions. Chen's approach complies with the rules. The voting results came out soon. Chen's family received far more votes than the other two, ranking first with 180,000 votes. Wang Lei's family got 60,000 votes. Zhang Yan's family only had 40,000 votes. Studio. After Xiao Sa announced the number of votes, he began to introduce the next activity. Dear viewers, in the last segment, the crying, laughing and shopping made both children feel depressed. Our program team is deeply sorry. Quote, then, next, we will bring you an interesting session that will make the children have fun, called Happy Ring Toss. Quote, as soon as he finished speaking, applause broke out in the studio. The audience in the live broadcast room were also very excited and looked expectant. Only Wang Feng's anger could not be calmed for a long time. Xiao Sa cleared his throat and introduced the rules in detail. This game requires parents and children to fight side by side. Quote, we will give each parent and child 50 rings. Please note that parents and children cannot use the rings interchangeably. Quote, every item on the field has a price tag. As long as the total value of items in a set exceeds 2,000 yuan, the game will be declared over. Quote, the winner is this family. Quote, also, although there is no prize money for this round, parents and children can take everything they win home directly. Are you all impatient? Quote, let's follow the camera to see the performance of the parents and children. Quote, the screen changes. The staff of the program team led the group towards the stall location. Along the way, the other two children were in very depressed mood, only Kunkin was full of energy. He had long forgotten the worry about not being able to buy the test paper. I saw that his pockets were stuffed full of spicy strips, 3 full bags. 2 of the bags were bought specially by the guy who was filming the video as compensation to him. I can't finish it. I can't finish it at all. Quote, soon, the group arrived at the stall site. The venue is very large, and as far as the eye can see, all kinds of things are placed all over the floor. From small items like drinks, snacks, chickens and geese to large items like washing machines, refrigerators, etc., there was even a brand new Maserati on the farthest table. Yes, it's a real car. The venue was set up by the program team by contacting a local street vendor, and all expenses incurred were borne by the program team. Zihan and Wang Zixuan, who were originally in a bad mood, gradually brightened up their eyes. Zihan immediately noticed a box of beautifully packaged watercolor pens in the corner. Wang Zixuan stared at a row of cool toy guns not far away, unable to take his eyes away. The staff member stepped forward, read the rules of the game aloud, and announced the start of the game. At this time a young girl came over. She is the owner of this stall. "Hello, kids. I'm the boss here, Zhao King." Quote. Zhao King greeted the three children with a smile on her face. The three children responded in unison. "Hello, Sister Zhao King." Quote. "Well, you are really polite. Then I will give each of you a circle and let you experience it first." Quote. As she spoke, Zhao King handed the circles to the children one by one. The hoops are very light and the children have no difficulty throwing them. "Who's coming first?" Quote. Zhao King asked. Ai Chen watched Kun Kun, who was eager to try, and encouraged him with a smile. "Come on, son, I'll tell you a secret. Great strength will bring about miracles." Quote. When Kun Kun heard this, he strode forward and said with full confidence, "I'll go first." Quote. He held the ring tightly, aimed directly at the Maserati farthest away, and then swung it with all his strength. Everyone looked in the direction of the circle. Strangely, the ring did not fly out, but Kun Kun's hands were empty. Everyone was confused. Where is the circle? Chapter 35, Find a wife for dad to practice shooting with him at night. I saw my son and I didn't know where he threw the hoop. Ai Chen smiled. He patted Kun Kun's shoulder and said, "No, son, you have to keep trying." Quote. Not only did the miracle not happen, but the circle also disappeared. Quote. Just at this moment, a soft cry from Zhao King came from the side of the venue. "Ah." Quote. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice. I saw a ring hanging around Zhao King's neck. It seems to be the one in Kun Kun's hand just now. Zhao King shrank her neck, still a little confused. The circle was thrown into the air just now, and she was looking up at it, but she didn't expect that the next moment, the circle fell straight towards her. At this moment everyone was stunned, and the scene was quiet for a while. "Good guy, I asked your kid to play ring toss, but you caught the boss's wife." Ai Chen was the first to react. He looked at Zhao King a little embarrassedly and apologized. "Are you okay? I'm sorry." Quote. Before she finished speaking, Zhao King took off the circle around her neck and said with a sweet smile, "It's all right." Quote. After saying that, she joked again. "I have to say your Kun Kun is quite capable. If he can trap me, then everything in this stall will be his." Quote. After hearing Zhao King's words, everyone present couldn't help laughing. Kun Kun scratched his head, lowered his head and smiled shyly. Ai Chen patted Kun Kun's head gently and scolded with a smile. "Why don't you apologize to them quickly and be more careful next time?" Quote. Kun Kun said obediently, "I'm sorry, sister." Quote. Then he turned around and looked at Ai Chen resentfully. "Dad is really unreliable. What's this about great effort making miracles happen? It's clearly about making him look bad." He pouted indignantly. "Humph, her sister said that if I can trap her, the whole stall will be mine." Quote. When you get home tonight, let Sister Zhao King practice with you. Don't bother me." Quote. Hearing the second sentence, Ai Chen hurried forward to cover Kun Kun's mouth. "What nonsense are you talking about, little brat?" Quote. "What do you mean by going home to practice shooting with him? That's such a lewd word." At this time, the audience in the live broadcast room were already laughing. "Ha ha ha, this kid Kunkin has potential, and he knows to catch the leader first." Closing square bracket. Boss Zhao King, oh my god. You actually want to take me home too. You idiot. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket. Ha 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 ha, the people upstairs need to ask for help. Close black lens bracket. Let the boss lady accompany your father to practice shooting. Is it the gun I thought of? No, I was thinking wrongly, I am guilty. Closing square bracket. Ai Chen seemed to be refusing, but he was actually very happy in his heart. The child found him a wife and found him a mother. Ha ha ha. Dog head. Good trick, this child must be the reincarnation of Nezha. Closing square bracket. Kunkin. The stall is mine, so you are mine too. Now my dad finally has a teammate. Closing square bracket. Kun Kun's most filial episode. Sooner or later, I will die of laughter in this live broadcast room. These father and son are more lively than each other. Closing square bracket. Okay, it seems like these two can really learn something. I'm going to go out and find a mother for my child now. Closing square bracket. As for the venue, Zhao King didn't care much. Because she didn't understand the deeper meaning of that sentence at all. He enthusiastically demonstrated to the parents and children how to throw the ring and explained the basic essentials of the game. The staff then announced that the Happy Ring Toss session had officially begun. After distributing the rings to parents and children, the camera first turned to Zhang Yan and Zihan. Zihan held the ring tightly in his hand, and his eyes drifted to the box of watercolor pens in the corner from time to time. Looking at the large number of rings in my hand, I felt inexplicably nervous. Zhang Yan, who was standing by, had a gentle smile on her face and spoke softly to comfort him. Zihan, don't be nervous. Mom is here. Mom will cheer you up, okay? Quote. As she spoke, Zhang Yan slowly squatted down and looked Zihan in the eye, her eyes full of encouragement. For this ring tossing activity, the program team did not set any reward rules. However, the ring tossing game is difficult for ordinary people, and parents and children cannot use the rings interchangeably. It will not be easy to achieve the 2,000 yuan goal set by the program team. Zhang Yan knew that this was a good opportunity to showcase her educational philosophy in front of the audience and increase her popularity, so she was not in a hurry. Zihan nodded slightly and was about to point to his mother the box of watercolor pens he wanted. However, Zhang Yan pointed to a microwave oven in the center of the venue and said, Zihan, can we put on that microwave? Quote. Zihan was stunned for a moment, and a look of disappointment gradually appeared on his face, which had originally shown some expectation. She spoke weakly. Mom, what I want is that box of watercolor pencils. Quote. Zhang Yan analyzed to Zihan patiently. Zihan, although we have 100 rings in our hands now, which seems like a lot, the chance of hitting the target is actually very small, so we can't waste these rings. Quote. Think about it, our family just needs a microwave. If we have one, Mom won't have to work so hard to make breakfast for you in the morning, and it will be much more convenient to heat up rice and dishes. Quote. Let's put it in the microwave first, okay? Quote. Zihan listened to her mother's words, pursed her lips and lowered her head. Usually my mother doesn't even have time to eat breakfast because it takes too long to steam buns and cook noodles. If I had a microwave, my mother could have breakfast with me. Mom has given so much to the family, she should be considerate of her mother. Her mother had also educated her for a long time in the supermarket before. She can't be so willful. If she only thinks about herself and doesn't consider her family, her parents will definitely be sad. Think of this. Although Zihan still wanted the watercolor pen, he raised his head and nodded to Zhang Yan. Seeing Zihan agreed, Zhang Yan showed a relieved smile on her face. That's right, this is a good boy of mommy. Quote. Now you try it. Mom believes you can do it. Quote. Zihan picked up the hoop that Xiao Qing had just given him, took a deep breath, and stared at the microwave oven in the center of the venue, feeling a little nervous. After hesitating for a while, he threw the ring out with force. However, after the ring drew an arc in the air, it did not hit the microwave oven as he wished. She couldn't help but feel a little guilty. Mom, I didn't hit the target. It was too far. Quote. Zhang Yan touched Zihan's head. There are still 100 laps to go, no hurry. Quote. You have to remember that where there is a will there is a way. You have to think of this microwave as a gift for your parents to thank them for their hard work. Quote. For Mom and Dad, I believe you can do it. Quote. Zihan listened to his mother's words of comfort, but for some reason he became even more nervous. But when she thought of her mother's hard work, she told herself not to back down. Mustering up his courage, he threw out a few more hoops, but the results were still unsatisfactory, and he still didn't hit the target. Zhang Yan sighed softly with some disappointment. Zihan, you need to be more careful. Quote. At this time, Zihan bit her lips, with tears gleaming in her eyes. Boss Zhao King looked over and couldn't help but frown in confusion. Logically speaking, the ring-tossing game should make children feel happy, so why is this little girl crying? Even if I didn't win, I wouldn't be so disappointed. Thinking in his mind, he slowly walked towards Zihan. The other side. Wang Zixuan looked at the toy gun which was quite far away and felt that he could not hit the target. So she turned around and pestered Wang Lei heartlessly, begging him non-stop. "Dad, I want a toy gun. Can you help me put it on?" Quote. Wang Lei was not willing to fulfill his wish so easily and scolded him angrily. "You don't study hard, you just play with these things." Quote. As he spoke, he glanced around the venue and then pointed to a learning machine in front of him. The learning machine was very close to where they were standing, less than 2 meters away. Wang Lei raised the corner of his mouth and said, "This learning machine is quite close." Quote. Wang Zixuan, "Look, I'm going to get you a learning machine so you can take it home and study hard for me." Quote. When Wang Zixuan heard this, he exclaimed, "Ah. No." Quote. He could hit the target even at such a close distance, let alone his father. But before he could say anything else, Wang Lei had already picked up the hoop and threw it out. Snap. Quote. The ring landed squarely on the learning machine, in front of. Wang Lei exclaimed in disbelief. "Oh my god, I missed." Quote. Wang Zixuan. He let out a long sigh, patted his chest, and felt relieved. Turned to look at Wang Lei. "Hey, why do I feel like you're a novice, Dad?" Quote. "Now I feel relieved." Quote. Then he said with a smile. "Well, Dad, you can play slowly by yourself. I don't need your help." Quote. After saying that, without waiting for Wang Lei to react, he took the ring, turned around and ran away. Wang Lei looked at his son's back as he ran away, and became angry and embarrassed. Said angrily, "How dare you look down on me, you bastard. I must catch you today." Quote. As soon as he finished speaking, he picked up another hoop and threw it out. Still missed. And it's even worse than last time. Wang Zixuan held the ring and looked for the shortest distance to the toy gun. Before I knew it, I walked to Kun Kun's side. The two children are usually quite familiar with each other in class. "Hey, where's your dad?" Quote. Wang Zixuan glanced at Kun Kun and then asked. "Yes, it's over there." Quote. Dad said I was 2 stone less and asked me to practice more here. Quote. Kun Kun shrugged and pointed helplessly towards a place not far away. Ai Chen was seen holding the ring and pacing back and forth for a long time, and finally threw out the first ring. Chapter 36. Watch me stew the goose in an iron pot. Near the center of the venue, there was a large box containing several large geese. Ai Chen's first target was them. He gripped the ring tightly, swung his arm violently, and delivered a powerful blow. At this time, the geese seemed to sense the danger. Faced with the flying hoop, he began to twist his neck desperately. However, Ai Chen's hoop drew a beautiful arc in the air as if it was equipped with GPS positioning. There was only a whoosh sound. It fits perfectly into the goose's neck. The goose stretched its neck straight, its eyes wide open, and it seemed like it hadn't reacted yet. Ai Chen raised the corners of his mouth, revealing a satisfied smile. The audience in the live broadcast room were all shocked by Ai Chen's superb ring-tossing skills. "Oh my god, Ai Chen has a way. Closing square bracket. Not my friend. The goose is trying so hard to protect itself, how can you still trap it? You don't leave it any chance to survive, ha ha ha." Closing square bracket. 6666. This goose is obviously a veteran actor, but I didn't expect that there is always someone stronger than you. Closing square bracket. No, tell me, how do you learn this? Ai Chen is really like a little cow riding an airplane. Closing square bracket. Wait a minute, where is Kun Kun? Why is Ai Chen the only one playing here? Why did you leave the child aside? Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, Ai Chen said to Kun Kun, if you're not good at it, practice more, and then ran over here. Closing square bracket. It's so funny, the child in one family couldn't be chosen, the father in one family couldn't be chosen, and there was one father who could be chosen but lost the child. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, Ai Chen's main point is just to have fun. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket Kunkan. No. Dad, If you can catch me, why don't you take me with you? Close black lens bracket. Ellipsis ellipsis. Hey, how about we team up and you help me figure out which side I should stand in? Quote. Seeing that Kun Kun was also alone, Wang Zixuan made a suggestion. Kunkin looked around him. Ah. Where's your dad? Did he go out to play alone? Quote. Hearing this, Wang Zixuan touched his nose awkwardly, and glanced at Wang Lei, who was throwing one after another but still failed to hit the target not far away. Alas, I can't even get close to you. Although he also hoped that his father would fail, it was really embarrassing for him as a son. Look, the hoops were thrown less than 2 meters away, and the hoops that didn't hit the target were scattered all over the ground. It was almost spread to his father's feet. The cameramen at the back were all trying to hold back their laughter. Even Zhao King could hardly hold back and wanted to move closer to Wang Lei. However, Wang Lei was still throwing and shouting at Wang Zixuan. Come back here, you bastard. I'll catch you in no time. Quote. In the set, I think you are really not right. Oh, this generation of parents is really hard to lead. Quote. Kun Kun comforted Wang Zixuan like a little adult. Well, that's right. Quote. The two children, who were like brothers in distress, couldn't help feeling sad inside. Wang Lei is still persevering. After he used up half of the ferrule in his hand, Zhao King couldn't bear it anymore. He walked forward and moved the learning machine forward. However, Wang Lei's ring and the learning machine were like two magnets with the same poles, and they could not be put together. After much difficulty, the ring hit the learning machine, but it slipped off again. And on Zhang Yan's side, she explained the truth to Zihan over and over again. She said that boss Zhao King had come to demonstrate it to her again before, but why didn't she follow the instructions? Now that you have chosen your goal, you must go all out. Zihan, who was already nervous, began to tremble slightly after hearing what his mother said. She is scared. Her mother kept stressing to her that there weren't many ferrules left, and she was afraid she wouldn't be able to get a microwave because of her. She feels guilty. Worrying about not being able to help my mother will only cause more trouble. She was very conflicted again. At first she wanted the box of watercolor pencils. The little body was shaking more and more violently, tears welled up in its eyes, and it couldn't lift its hand that was holding the ring. However, few people could see that she was helpless. Because under the camera, her mother was always squatting next to her, making many viewers feel that the child was always accompanied by her mother. As for Ai Chen, he was alone, excitedly greeting Xiaoqing and tying up the big goose in his harness. Seeing the two completely different ways of doing things, many guests in the studio frowned. Observer Wang Fang had an even gloomier face. Wang Fang glanced around the guest seats and snorted coldly when she saw that everyone had a serious expression. Then he stood up and started criticizing Ai Chen. Everyone has seen it, this is how Ai Chen educates his children. Quote. No, this time he didn't teach his child at all. He actually despised his own child for being unskilled and chose to abandon Kun Kun. Quote. Haha, will you still vote for such a selfish person? Quote. Look at Wang Lei's parent. Although he is not with his child, he still cares about his child's studies. He wants to get a learning machine at all costs, and he calls Wang Zixuan back from time to time. Quote. At least he puts his mind on the child, but what about Ai Chen? Quote. Look at Zhang Yan, who performed the best in this session. She is a role model for all parents. Quote. From the beginning to the end, he stood by Zihan all the time to encourage her and comfort her. He didn't use any loops on his own and put all his thoughts on the child. Quote. The children are only 8 years old. Even adults have a hard time playing the ring tossing game, let alone them. The most important thing in this game is the cooperation between parents and children. Cooperation is not only for winning, but also for enhancing the relationship between children and parents. Quote. Zhang Yan responded to all of Zihan's emotions and comforted him one by one. When Zihan was most helpless, his mother stood firmly by his side. Quote. Such a good mother and good parent, isn't it touching? She is the one who truly deserves everyone's vote. Quote. Speaking of this, Wang Fang sighed deeply, a look of regret on her face. And what about Ai Chen? He only cared about himself and left the child alone. He didn't ask the child what he wanted, nor did he consider what to catch for the child. He went to catch a goose by himself. It's really unbelievable. Quote, look, his son can only be with Wang Zixuan. You can imagine how lonely, helpless and sad his child must be. Quote, he said he and his son were very happy, but I only saw him oppressing the child to please himself. Quote, everyone, calm down and think carefully. Our country needs an objective and serious education, not his kind of entertainment and frivolous education. Quote, after saying, she glanced at everyone in the studio again. Seeing many guests nodding to her frequently, she felt a sense of accomplishment. She deeply felt that she had been persisting against Ai Chen, and it was all worth it. Most of the guests in the studio are mothers or grandparents with grandchildren. After seeing Ai Chen's disregard for Kun Kun, they all expressed their dissatisfaction. Everyone was discussing among themselves. What's wrong with Ai Chen? She seemed quite happy taking her child shopping before, but now she has left the child to play by herself. Quote, didn't you hear? This Ai Chen despises his son for being unskilled. Even a dog wouldn't despise his family for being poor, but he actually despises his own child. Quote, it's normal for a father to be careless when taking care of his children, but Ai Chen deliberately abandoned the child, which is really too much. Quote, look at how well Zhang Yan did. How can Ai Chen compare to her? What's so great about putting on a big goose that those netizens can praise? Quote, how sad must Kun Kun be when he sees others being comforted and encouraged by their mothers? Quote, however, the atmosphere of the live broadcast room barrage is very different from that in the studio. No, Ai Chen just left for a while, why are so many people making a big deal out of it? Closing square bracket, you guys know nothing. Kunkin feels the least pressured when he is not with Ai Chen. Closing square bracket, I am about to cry for Zihan, and you guys are still exaggerating. Closing square bracket, no, why is Kun Kun sad? Can the people in the studio look up at the big screen and see who is laughing so hard that his nose is almost bubbling? Closing square bracket, here is the ring tossing scene. Wang Zixuan, who was playing with Kun Kun, suddenly noticed Ai Chen, who was not far away, taking a big goose from Boss Xiaoqing. He exclaimed to Kun Kun who was beside him, look, your dad has caught a big goose so quickly. Let's go and take a look. Quote, as he said that, he pulled Kun Kun and ran towards Ai Chen. Came to Ai Chen's side and looked at him, who was tied up like a goose. Kun Kun opened his eyes wide, his eyes full of admiration. Frog fun. Dad, you're wearing pants too. Quote, is this a one-shot hit? Quote, it turns out my dad is so awesome. I thought he was a loser and was afraid of being embarrassed if I saw him. In that case, wouldn't it be possible for him to ask his dad to help him put on that thing? Kun Kun's eyes turned to a desk at the back of the venue. Hearing the praise, Ai Chen raised his head proudly. He had left his son behind earlier in order to walk around the venue and think about what to catch. According to the rules of the program, the game will be stopped immediately if a family reaches 2,000 yuan. Therefore, if Ai Chen wants to maximize his gains, he must first limit the total value of the items he obtains to less than 2,000 yuan, and then use the last circle to trap the most expensive item in the venue. But he was able to hit the target every time, but in order to let the children play longer, he didn't want to end the game so quickly. Ai Chen touched Kun Kun's head and smiled. Son, how about we eat goose stewed in an iron pot when we get home tonight? Quote, Kunkin clapped his hands happily after hearing this. Then Ai Chen waved his hand again. He said proudly, son, stand behind me and watch me put on another big iron pot. Chapter 37. There is a dad who is more and more awesome the more he brags. He lives in a garden community. Seeing Kun Kun's happy face in the live broadcast. Inside the studio, the guests were all dumbfounded. The corner of Wang Feng's mouth twitched and she felt a slight pain on her face. But soon she snorted coldly, hiding the embarrassment in her heart. Don't think the child is happy now, but what about just now? Quote, let's take a step back and say, is Ai Chen right now? Quote, he just abandoned the child, but that's the truth. Quote, just as Wang Feng was arguing. There were exclamations again in the ring-tossing arena. Damn, I hit it again, your dad must have used the automatic aim. Quote, Ai Chen hit the iron pot again, and Indian Wang Zixuan clapped his hands in amazement. Chen smiled faintly. Kun also stood aside and praised again. Dad, you're so handsome. Quote. After saying that, Kun's eyes rolled around and pointed to a student desk in the middle of the venue. There was an expectant look on his face. It would be even cooler if you could help me put that desk in there. Quote. Chen looked in the direction of Kun's finger, and his heart couldn't help but move. The original person had promised to buy a desk for Kun, but it had never been done. Now that I have this opportunity, I will fulfill my promise to my children. Chen did not hesitate. He took out his cell phone and handed it to Kun, saying with a smile. Son, help me make a TikTok video and I'll help you build a desk so that your fans won't keep asking me when I'm going to buy one for you. Quote. Remember to take a handsome picture of your dad. Quote. After hearing this, Kun immediately made an okay gesture, full of confidence. Bayo's daddy. Quote. Kun took his cell phone, ran a little further away, and found what he thought was a perfect shooting angle. Then he opened the TikTok camera and pointed it at himself with an excited smile. Godfathers, my dad is so filial today. I'm going to have a desk soon he. Quote. In the ring arena, larger items are placed on top of a short, thick pillar. According to the rules, as long as you hit the pillar, you have successfully caught the item. Chen stood outside the loop line, staring intently at the pillar on the desk. He swung his arm vigorously, and in the blink of an eye, the loop was put on the pillar squarely. When Kun saw this scene, he excitedly ran over with his cell phone. Chen raised his head slightly, with a smug smile like Lu Bu on his face. It seems to be saying, hurry up, praise me hard. Kun gave a thumbs up without hesitation and praised with admiration. Dad, you really are a little cow standing upside down, so bullish. Quote. After hearing what Kun said, the audience in the live broadcast room were all amused. Ha, Kun is still young, but he speaks in a very different way. Closing square bracket. 8-year-olds can all say idioms, but I can only walk a single 6. Closing square bracket. Watching this father and son from TikTok, they are really happy, not as serious as the observer said. Closing square bracket. Tisk, Kun's little mouth can talk. I guess he will deceive many little girls in the future. Closing square bracket. Ahem, I'm single and have an 8-year-old daughter. I think I can bring 2 children together. Chuckling. Upstairs, I think you have a crush on Chen, ha. Closing square bracket. Ellipsis. Successfully hit the target. Chen turned and looked at his son Kun with a gentle smile on his face. Then he patted his shoulder. Alright, now it's time for you to show off your talent. Come on, try it. Quote. Good. Quote. Kun nodded and answered eagerly. He picked up the hoop, ran to the side and started his own attempt. Seeing Kun get what he wanted, Wang Zixuan looked up at his father again. I saw that the other party was still insisting on using the learning machine. He sighed helplessly. This is the difference between one father and another. Take the ring and walk away. He was still mumbling to himself. There is a dad who gets more and more awesome the more he brags. He lives in a garden community. Quote. At this time, Chen had already found a chair and sat down, watching Kun tossing rings leisurely. Seeing this scene, Wang Feng seized the opportunity and started criticizing again. Haha, you've only been playing with the child for less than 2 minutes, and you're already reluctant. Quote. It seems that he just wanted to pretend in front of the camera. Quote. Wang Feng's words quickly made many guests in the studio suddenly realize the truth. I think that's it. This Chen has always been irresponsible. Quote. That's right, Wang Zixuan's cheers just now attracted the cameraman, so Chen didn't continue to do what he wanted. Quote. Poor Kun was only satisfied with his dad's company for a short while. Quote. The guests spoke one after another, and the studio was filled with negative comments about Chen. But just at this moment, a faint cry sounded from the screen. The live camera has been given to Zhang Yan and Zihan. Zhang Yan, who was originally squatting, stood up with her hands on her hips. Zihan, look at other people's children. None of them are as timid as you. Quote. Look, they have all gotten what they wanted. Quote. My daughter didn't move and was unwilling to throw the circle again. Zhang Yan's patience was gradually exhausted. She felt helpless and confused at the same time. What happened to Zihan recently? He is becoming less obedient and sensible than before. Isn't it just asking her to put a microwave in it? Why is she so reluctant? Before you can get an item, others will have already got 2,000 yuan. If Zihan is still unwilling, how can she show her successful educational philosophy to the audience in the live broadcast room? Mom, I don't want to play anymore, I can't. Quote. Feeling Zhang Yan's stern gaze, Zihan whispered weakly. There was no way she could hit the microwave oven that was so far away. Just now, Sister Zhaoqing came to persuade her mother. But why did her mother insist on asking her to put on a condom? Don't want to play anymore. Zihan, you are kidding me, right? Quote. I've told you so many times not to give up halfway through something, why do you always turn a deaf ear to my words? Quote. Look at the two boys in your class. They are even shorter than you. They are having a lot of fun. Why do you say you can't do that? Quote. It seems that you won't be willing to listen to me unless I push you. Quote. After saying this, Zhang Yan paused. Are you willing to obey me? If you are, use these hoops to put them on the microwave. Quote. As long as you are willing to put it on, it doesn't matter if you can't put it on. Not only that, Mom will consider using my 50 rings to help you put on the watercolor pen you want. Quote. If you don't want to, then Mom will have to take away all your hoops. Quote. If you don't want to play, then Mom won't let you play. Quote. Comfort, encouragement and persuasion were all useless. She had given up wasting time. After saying, Zhang Yan snatched the hoop from Zihan's hand. Zihan was already a little nervous when faced with his mother's scolding. Her hand was tightly holding the ferrule, and Zhang Yan's action of snatching the ferrule from her hand caused her body to shake violently. He fell to the ground. He propped his little hands on the concrete floor and cried out in pain. Seeing this scene, the barrage of comments went viral. Wow, what is she doing? Did she get kicked in the head by a donkey? Why is she treating her own daughter like this? Closing square bracket. I feel so bad. Just now, Zhaoqing came to comfort Zihan, and Zihan stopped crying immediately. Doesn't Zhang Yan know that there is something wrong with her way of education? She keeps criticizing the child. Closing square bracket. I can't stand it. Why was I laughing when Wang Lei beat Wang Zixuan, but I wanted to cry when I saw Zihan fall to the ground? Who would listen to you? You keep nagging me. Besides, didn't you let her use the microwave? Why are you saying that Zihan gave up halfway? Closing square bracket. Hey, why do people nowadays speak so harshly? Why don't children listen to me? How can parents not be anxious? Isn't this normal? Closing square bracket. That's right, I think Zhang Yan treats Zihan too well, which is why she has gradually become a little willful. It's a good thing to put some pressure on the child. Closing square bracket. Zihan fell down. Zhang Yan was just careless. What parent doesn't love their child, really? Closing square bracket. The comments in the barrage were full of controversy, with each comment holding an opinion. I saw Zihan fall to the ground and burst into tears again. She was originally planning to continue giving him a lecture, but after thinking it over, she squatted down and prepared to help Zihan up. I'm sorry Zihan, Mom didn't mean it. Quote. If you listen to your mother. Quote. There was an expression of remorse and sadness on her face. He reached out to help Zihan up, but Zihan's body was shaking slightly. Struggling and somewhat unwilling. See here. Zhang Yan's face gradually turned cold again. Inside the studio. Facing various criticisms of Zhang Yan in the barrage. The more Wang Feng watched, the more sad and lamentable it seemed to her. It turns out that there are still so many viewers with such limited thinking and short-sightedness. Chapter 38 Father's Love is Silent. Wang Feng stood up with a serious expression. She felt it was necessary to let the audience face the facts. She just spoke with a serious look on her face. It seems that everyone has fallen into a misunderstanding. This is a program discussing how to educate children, not how to spoil children. Quote. There's a saying that goes, if you don't push your child, you don't know how much potential he or she has. Quote. Zhang Yan was more severe than usual this time, and even accidentally caused Zihan to fall, which made many viewers dissatisfied. Quote. What I want to tell everyone is that although Zihan is hurt, the pain is in Zhang Yan's heart. Quote. She also didn't want to hurt her daughter. Quote, but in order for her child to grow up, she knew she had to be ruthless. Quote, it's like a mother eagle who has to be ruthless to push her baby birds off a cliff so that they can learn to fly. Quote, you know, a child is like a ball. You have to hit her so that she can bounce back. Quote, I sincerely tell you that I am not just talking on paper. Quote, take my own daughter for example. I never allowed her to take leave because of any injury or illness since she was little. It is because of my pressure that her grades are among the best in the city's best high school. Quote, so please don't blame Zhang Yan's mother. Quote, after Wang Feng finished speaking, there was a brief silence in the studio. Afterwards, many guests nodded, especially after hearing about Wang Feng's daughter's excellent results. They believed her words even more. Many viewers who held neutral views in the live broadcast room were also persuaded by Wang Feng. Yes, if we don't put pressure on children, how can they have the motivation to study? However, at this time, in the studio observer seat, observer Zhang Yu sighed and shook his head, then said coldly, haha, the child is a ball. Then you better be careful not to burst it. Quote, the sound is not loud. But everyone in the studio and the audience in the live broadcast room could hear it clearly. To some people it may even sound deafening. Soon, the barrage of comments began to flood the screen like crazy. That's right. Observer Zhang Yu and I thought the same thing. Closing square bracket. That Zhang Yan is not just a moderate amount of pressure, it's just the suffocating atmosphere, even an adult like me can't stand it. Closing square bracket. Haha, it is this view of constantly pressuring children that causes many parents with low cognitive levels to push their children into the abyss. Closing square bracket. Yes, sending children to militarized schools and using electric shock therapy on them has harmed many families. Closing square bracket. Everyone, I can't help it. I'm losing my manners. Stupid Wang Feng, I came to watch the live broadcast to have fun, not to watch you talk nonsense. Hurry up and shut your stinky mouth. You're still kicking the ball. I want to slap you a few times to see if you can grow up. Closing square bracket. Hurry up and change the one live broadcast room back to 3 live broadcast rooms. I'm going crazy if I look at Zhang Yan again. Closing square bracket. The audience's anger has never been so overwhelming. Backstage staff quickly noticed, decided to switch the screen first to calm the rhythm. The live camera turned to Ai Chen and Kun Kun. I saw Kun Kun throwing the hoop with all his might. He had succeeded in catching 4 or 5 objects, though they were small things like pencil sharpeners. But he feels a great sense of accomplishment. After I felt a little comfortable with it, he set his sights on the sweeper and dishwasher in the middle of the field. After throwing more than 10 times and still missing the target, Zhao King came over to pick up the rings on the ground. Seeing Kun Kun who is so obsessed with the sweeper and dishwasher, Zhao King encouraged, come on, Kunkin. Quote, are you working so hard to help dad relieve the pressure of doing housework? Quote, Kun Kun was stunned for a moment, then glanced sideways at his father who was sitting on a chair with his hands in his pockets, legs crossed, looking extremely leisurely. Sister Zhao King, do you think my dad is someone who can do housework? Quote, Zhao King. Quote, Kunkin spread his hands helplessly. I bought these 2 things just to reduce the amount of housework I have to do in the future. Quote, after saying that, he remained silent and just kept throwing the ring. Zhao King. Soon, the barrage was filled with laughter. It's so funny, Kun Kun has a lot of responsibilities. He has to do housework and make breakfast for Ai Chen on weekends, ha ha ha. Closing square bracket. Ha 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 ha, Ai Chen, as long as I am lazy enough, my children will be diligent enough. Closing square bracket. This is the first time I've seen such a sensible child, and this is also the first time I've seen such an ignorant parent, ha ha ha. Closing square bracket. But there are always people who hold different opinions on a certain matter. No, are you people so hypocritical? When Zhang Yan puts pressure on her child, you scold her, but when Ai Chen puts pressure on her child, you praise her. Isn't it corporal punishment to make the child do housework? Closing square bracket. Yeah, look, Ai Chen is just standing there watching, not caring at all whether Kun Kun can hit the target or not. Closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket. Having a father like Ai Chen, Kun Kun is really suffering. Close black lens bracket. But soon, these comments were debated by everyone. Haha, this is pressure. I don't think it's as great as Kun-kun's pressure from playing games. Zhang Yan's is endless mental pressure, and a child under this situation will only have his wings of thought broken. I Chen's pressure is just simple physical work, which can give the child wings of independence. This is what it means when a child from a poor family grows up early. Closing square bracket. I strongly agree with the above comment. Doing some physical work will not make children commit suicide, but depression can really kill children. Closing square bracket. If it's really the same pressure, then have you ever seen Kun-kun cry as often as Zihan? Have you ever seen Zihan laugh as often as Kun-kun? Closing square bracket. While the debate was going on in the barrage, Zhao King walked towards I Chen with a frown on her face. He asked I Chen somewhat unhappily. Hey, Kun-kun's father, your son has been lying there for so long, why don't you go and stay with him and help him? Quote, I thought you were pretty awesome before. Quote, she was not angry with I Chen, but felt that Kun-kun was a small person, but he didn't expect to carry such a huge mountain like I Chen on his back. Thank you for your hard work, Kun-kun. And the question she asked was exactly what many people in the studio wanted to ask. I Chen smiled when he heard this. Without further explanation, he stood up and walked towards Kun-kun, shouting, Son, do you need my help? Quote, as soon as he said this, Kun-kun's head shook like a rattle. No, Dad, go and take a rest. Quote, hee, if I can get hold of this vacuum cleaner and dishwasher, they'll be mine. Don't ever threaten me with playing games with you if I don't do housework. Quote, I Chen was about to say something. He was interrupted again by Kun-kun's ambitions. Don't try to persuade me. I'm feeling really hot right now. I'm going to get them. Quote, stop doing housework and turn the tables. Quote, open. Quote, 3 or 4 hoops flew out in response. I Chen. I took a look at Kun-kun who was full of passion and had 20 feet. He turned his head and shrugged at Zhao King. No, do you think this child looks like someone who needs my help? Quote, Zhao King. These two really are father and son. He picked up the thing that Kun-kun had previously caught from the ground and said as he did so. Helping a child does not mean you have to help with everything, and accompanying a child does not mean you have to be with her all the time. Quote, I never break my promise to my children. Quote, I promised to give Kun-kun the desk. Since he asked me for help, I am naturally happy to accept it. Quote, as for the rest, I hope he can try it on his own first. What he gets through his own efforts is what he should be most proud of. Quote, I Chen glanced at Kun-kun again. As you can see, he enjoys relying on his own strength. Quote, as for companionship, when he is happily playing, I am silently watching behind him. Isn't that the best companionship? Quote, after all, fatherly love is silent. Chapter 39, The Learning Machine is Lubricated. When I Chen's last sentence came out, many guests in the studio were stunned. Look deeply at I Chen on the screen. At this moment, the audience in the live broadcast room seemed to have been enlightened and sent barrages of comments one after another. Father's love is silent, but silence is better than words at this moment. Closing square bracket. So insightful. Accompanying children all the time is either spoiling them or controlling them. Closing square bracket. I totally agree. It's not a dangerous game. If you stay by your child's side and give instructions all the time, your child will be annoyed even if you don't. Closing square bracket. That's right, you should accompany your child when he needs you, and when he doesn't need you, don't use adult thinking to guess what he is thinking. Closing square bracket. This kind of parent-child relationship is the healthiest. Zhang Yan's side really gave me a heart attack. Closing square bracket. Inside the studio, seeing that the barrage was full of voices supporting I Chen, Wang Fang's face turned pale. She talked for so long, but she was still not as effective as I Chen's few words. Her experience and practical experience are so much more than those young people born in the 2000s. This I Chen is clearly making excuses. Quote, Wang Fang spoke sharply. It instantly attracted everyone's attention. As a parent, if you don't accompany your children, who will? Quote, I think I Chen is just lazy. Children are naturally competitive. His lack of enthusiasm in participating in the game will not only disappoint the children, but also give them the impression that he is a loser. Quote, you don't want to accompany your children, but you have a lot of crooked ideas. Quote, everyone should know that when Chen previously connected with education experts, it was because of the sophistry that the authorities urgently stopped it. Quote, his words are totally unreliable. Don't be misled. Quote, here, I want to ask everyone. Quote, if you don't take the initiative to consider your child and try to guess what he or she is thinking, what will you do if your child hides something important from you and doesn't want to tell you? At that time, will you still say that fatherly love is silent? Quote, after saying this, she looked around the studio confidently. He believed that with his meticulous thinking, he would be able to convince everyone. After all, she has official support behind her. The last time the show was suspended, it went without saying that it must have been because Chen's remarks in public had angered the authorities. I saw that no one in the studio raised any objection. She couldn't help feeling proud again. But she didn't notice that the barrage in the live broadcast room was all, yes, yes. Quote, then choose to vote for Chen today. At this time, observer Zhang Yu pushed his glasses and stood up. He looked at Wang Feng coldly. Observer Wang Feng, I don't want to refute you with empty opinions this time. Quote, since you asked everyone a question, I would like to ask you 2 questions on behalf of everyone. Quote, Wang Feng snorted coldly, you say. Quote, Zhang Yu asked without hesitation. First, when you say you have to do everything yourself and try to figure out what your children are thinking, have you ever considered their privacy and their free space? Quote, second, if you think something is very important, but your child hides it from you and is unwilling to tell you, wouldn't you feel that you have failed as a mother and an educator? Quote, that's all. Zhang Yu sat down without waiting for Wang Feng's answer. Look at Wang Feng again. At this moment, she opened her mouth slightly, wanting to refute, but something was stuck in her throat and she didn't know what to say. For some reason, when she heard the word, failure, the 3 words on her daughter's diagnosis sheet immediately popped up in her mind. At this time, the barrage in the live broadcast room became much quieter. Many viewers were thinking about what Zhang Yu said, but the ring-tossing venue was very lively at this time. Zhang Yan is here. She had already helped Zihan up. She grabbed Zihan's wrist tightly and forced a ring into Zihan's hand. He forced Zihan to throw the ring by hand. Although she was unwilling and her body subconsciously shrank back, she was too weak to resist. The previous tears had been scolded back by Zhang Yan. But now the tears turned into a tide of fear, drowning her small body. Zihan's mind involuntarily recalled the scene in which Zhang Yan taught her how to write. At that time, mother's hands were so gentle, but now her hands hurt her. She felt at this moment. The mother behind her frightened her more than a stranger. The cameraman didn't focus on this side, otherwise the audience might go crazy after seeing this scene. The other side. Wang Lei and Wang Zixuan were playing a chase scene around the ring-tossing field. Just now, with the help of Zhao King who moved the learning machine forward countless times, Wang Lei successfully. He spent all his last hoop. A total of 50 hoops, all missed. The learning machine was almost at his feet, and he still couldn't put it on. Wang Lei questioned Zhao King in disbelief. You guys don't lubricate this learning machine, do you? Quote, Zhao King was speechless. She moved the learning machine again and again, but she was not actually helping Wang Lei. I just want to see how stupid Wang Lei can be. The facts show that Wang Lei is extremely stupid. After using up all his money on the rings, Wang Lei wanted to follow Zhang Yan's example and force himself to use the learning machine with Wang Zixuan. But Wang Zixuan didn't want to do that. He reacted quickly and dodged Wang Lei's big hand like a loach. Then he ran away. In this way, the father and son, one chased and the other escaped. Wang Lei was panting behind him. Wang Zixuan threw circles while running. Never mind. Regardless of whether you can escape the toy gun or not, you have to spend all the money first. This scene made the audience laugh. The other side. Kun Kun was staring closely at the sweeper and dishwasher placed in the venue. The distance is quite far and the difficulty is not small. At this time, he had thrown out most of the hoops in his hand, and some hoops that had not been successfully thrown were scattered on the ground. But Kun Kun was not at all panicked, and his eyes were extremely determined. The scene of Chen putting the ring on the ball before appeared in his mind. I secretly cheered myself up in my heart. Dad is very capable and he doesn't want others to say that a good father will have bad sons. And he is good and wants to be praised by his dad. The last time I Chen praised him for being handsome, he was happy for a long time. With faith, Kun Kun concentrated his energy and the hoop in his hand drew arcs in the air. Finally, the hard work paid off and the ring was firmly put on the sweeper. But at this time, all the hoops in his hand had been used up. Although the ring was gone, Kunkun's face instantly broke into a bright smile, his excitement beyond words. He jumped up excitedly and shouted towards I Chen who was not far away. Dad, I got it. I got it even from this far away. Quote. After shouting, Kun Kun imitated I Chen's previous behavior. He raised his head slightly, a smug smile like Lu Bu's on his face. Hearing his son's call, I Chen smiled, stood up and walked towards Kun Kun. Give a thumbs up and praise without hesitation. Son, that's cool. Quote. This is a heartwarming scene. Many viewers were moved. Well, this is the parent-child interaction I want to see. The child has freedom, and the parents will praise the child for his hard work. Closing square bracket. Kunkin is awesome. It seems that among the 3 kids, only Kunkin has won a lot of things. Closing square bracket. Ha ha ha, that's true, but this just shows that I Chen's laziness has played a very good effect. Closing square bracket. Look at this kid, he's really working hard, spending all his money on hoops just to avoid doing housework, ha ha ha. Closing square bracket. There is no other way. A family must have a sensible person. Dog head. I Chen looked at the prices of the items they currently had in their package. The total price was quickly spoken out. It's already 1,097 yuan. Look at the other 2 families. They were running out of hoops. I Chen sighed deeply in his heart about Zhang Yan's behavior. Zihan at this moment was just like him when he was a child. It has always been controlled by parents. As for Wang Zixuan, he had only one opinion. This kid has pretty good physical fitness and can run very fast. I have to find an opportunity to take Kun Kun out for some exercise. Otherwise he will want to stay at home and read books all day long, which will tire him out and make him play games. Clapped his hands. I Chen decided to end this ring toss game. Chapter 40, Maserati. Director, it's broken, it's coming for me. As long as the price reaches 2,000 yuan, he and his son will be the winners of the game. I Chen's eyes fell on the dishwasher in the middle of the venue and looked at the price. 800 yuan, about that. Quote. He whispered to himself. Then, he turned to look at Kun Kun beside him and asked. Son, do you want this dishwasher? Quote. When Kun Kun heard his father's question, he was stunned for a moment, surprise flashed in his eyes, and then he nodded vigorously. Okay, leave it to your father. Quote. I Chen was calculating silently in his heart. It helps my son save time washing dishes and allows him to play games. Good value. After saying that, I Chen walked to the side and moved around for a while, quickly getting into the state. The ring in his hand flew out and hit the dishwasher accurately. It's already 1897. Quote. Without hesitation, he took the remaining rings in his hand and started to take the drinks and mineral water in the venue. At this time, Xiaoqing was a little puzzled by I Chen's behavior, so she walked over quickly and asked. I Chen, you have such great skills, why do you suddenly only use such simple things? Quote. At the same time, the audience in the live broadcast room also expressed their doubts. Internet trolls are everywhere. The same goes for the live show room. They were omnipresent and were defeated by I Chen every time. Now they thought they had seized the opportunity and naturally began to attack actively. Haha, he was just lucky before, he doesn't have any real ability. Closing square bracket. That's right, she must have been afraid of making a fool of herself in front of her son before, so she didn't put it on. Now she's putting it on a dishwasher and she's putting it on these simple things. She's obviously afraid. Closing square bracket. Tisk tisk tisk, we are all here for fun, we must use something more difficult. Who would take advantage of this by using mineral water? It's really boring. Closing square bracket. Ellipsis ellipsis. Facing Zhao Qing's question, I Chen answered calmly. I'm rounding it up. Quote. Zhao Qing. Quote. At this time, I Chen successfully won 2 bottles of mineral water. Continue speaking. Okay, Now the total value of the set is 1,999 yuan. Quote, "Please, Boss Zhaoqing, move aside. I want to put it on." Quote, as he spoke, he pointed to the Maserati at the back of the venue. The Maserati was parked farthest from the circle area. There is a ball on the roof of the car. According to the rules of the ring toss, as long as the ball is hit, it will be considered a success, but after winning the bid, you do not directly obtain the ownership of the car, but you can get the right to use the car for 2 years, or you can convert it into 50,000 yuan in cash. As soon as Ai Chen's words came out, not only was Zhaoqing surprised, but the audience in the live broadcast room were also very surprised. 666. The reason for buying a bottle of mineral water worth $1 is to collect 19.99, and then buy a big one. Closing square bracket. Okay, it's so far away, if you can catch me I'll call you daddy. Closing square bracket. Ai Chen is still hitting the target every time. He still has so many hoops in his hand. Maybe he can really hit the target. Closing square bracket. Awesome, master of price management, a man who has studied the program rules to the limit. Closing square bracket. I admit that your hoop tossing skills are very strong, but don't brag too much, there are so many people watching. Closing square bracket. Kunkin, hurry up and get a bag for my dad. Zhaoqing, the pocket can't hold it. Kunkin, no, my dad has already filled it up. Closing square bracket. Just when Ai Chen said he wanted to buy Maserati. Backstage of the How to Raise Children program team. Chief Director Zhou Ping, who was concentrating on watching the live broadcast, was suddenly stunned. It's broken. It's coming at me. That Maserati was his new favorite car. The reason why it was brought to the show was just to add some gimmicks and appeal to the show. Ai Chen's previous performance in hooping was always on target, and he saw it clearly. He panicked. I can't bear to give my beloved car to someone else to drive for 2 years. He didn't think about converting it into cash. After all, in his opinion, who could resist wanting the right to use a luxury car? And Ai Chen usually rides just a small electric donkey. The cameramen on the scene reacted quickly. All the cameras were focused on Ai Chen. At the moment when everyone was watching, Ai Chen took a deep breath and threw the hoop in his hand steadily. Everyone's eyes followed the trajectory of the hoop closely. There was only a pop sound. Without any surprises, the ring fits onto the ball precisely. Ellipsis. No one reacted at all. For a moment, the scene fell into silence. Even Zihan, who had been immersed in sadness, stared blankly at the ring on the ball, his eyes full of shock. Not a buddy. Quote. Zhou Ping stretched his neck, his eyes almost glued to the computer screen where the live broadcast was being broadcast in the background. At this moment, the live broadcast room was completely boiling, and many people watching the live broadcast even stood up. Open black lens bracket father. Close black lens bracket. It's over before I can react. Closing square bracket. Okay, it's confirmed that he was aiming himself. I'll have the official ban his account later. Closing square bracket. I won't watch this live broadcast anymore. I'm jealous. Closing square bracket. Fuck, do you really want to play like this? Aren't you going to kill those trolls? Closing square bracket. Script. This must be a script. Please let me act in one episode, brother. Please. Closing square bracket. Program team. It's over, what a loss. Closing square bracket. Ha 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 ha. Ai Chen is here to purchase goods, and after he's done he even loads the goods into the car and drives away. Closing square bracket. Ellipsis. What makes Zhou Ping feel at ease is, Ai Chen did not choose to use the car for 2 years, but decisively chose 50,000 yuan in cash. Ai Chen's explanation is, the electric donkey is very convenient and I am used to it. Quote. When the staff curiously asked Kun if he didn't want to ride in this luxurious car, Kun's answer surprised everyone. Yes, of course I want to take this ride, but I know it's only temporary. Quote. My father once told me that a person is truly rich only when he is rich on the inside, and he does not need to rely on external things to decorate himself. Quote. Even if I want to decorate it externally in the future, I hope to use the money I earn to buy a car that is truly mine. Quote. Actually, at first, he kind of wanted Ai Chen to have the car. This way, When his dad drives to the school to pick him up after school, he can show off in front of his friends. But he knows. Dad is lazy and won't come to pick him up from school, soon. The staff announced that the game was over and the winner was Ai-Chen's family. The other two families also have their own situations. Wang Zixuan accidentally hit the toy gun he had been dreaming of. Wang Lei originally wanted to teach him a lesson, but because it was a live broadcast, he held back. As for Zhang Yan's family, they didn't get any prize. Looking at the really pitiful Zihan, Xiaoqing felt a surge of pity in her heart. She picked up the box of exquisite watercolor pens, walked towards Zihan, and spoke softly. Zihan, this box of watercolor pens is for you. Quote. Zihan shook his head timidly and shrank back. At this time, Zhang Yan pushed Xiaoqing's hand holding the watercolor pen away. He forced a stiff smile. No, we can't spoil this child. Quote. We need to let Zihan learn a lesson from this failure. Quote. She was blaming Zihan in her heart. I think she didn't get any hits because she wasn't proactive enough. I'm preparing to educate you again. But he noticed the dissatisfied expression on Xiaoqing's face. And the cameraman's lens. His expression changed slightly, and then he turned to Zihan and said. Be good, Zihan, don't be sad. Mom promises you that as long as you get full marks on your final exam, I'll buy you a watercolor pen, okay? Quote. Zihan lowered his head and said nothing. Not far behind them, Kunkin heard the conversation between Zhang Yan and Zihan and turned to ask Ai-Chen. Dad, will there be a reward if I do well on the final exam? Quote. Ai-Chen was about to say, reward. How about a reward for you to go on the trail with Dad? Quote. Just at this moment, a staff member came over and said to Ai-Chen. We will not be here for the next step. How about we pack the things you collected earlier and deliver them to your neighborhood? Quote. Not here anymore. Quote. Ai-Chen was stunned for a moment, and suddenly remembered that there was an important thing he hadn't done this time. He patted Kun Kun's shoulder and said, Son, you don't have to do well on the final exam, Dad will give you a reward right away. Quote. After saying, under the puzzled gazes of Kun Kun and everyone else, Ai-Chen turned around and ran quickly towards Wanda Plaza. Not long after, his figure reappeared in everyone's sight. He was holding two large boxes in his hands. Seeing this, Kun Kun's eyes suddenly lit up. Wow! Did Dad go to the bookstore to buy him a book?